Mama. One of her friends tell us freaking me out. That's fine.
I am the incredible man. I only do things incredible can. Cause I am the seed of a chosen breed. You don't see too many like me. Cause I am one of the reasons you do what you do when you want to be me instead of you. Cause I am still on beat, showing love to the streets. Come on, you know me, cause that's who I am. Man, I only do things incredible can. Cause I am the seed of a chosen breed. You don't see too many like me. Cause I am one of the reasons you do what you do when you want to be me instead of you. Cause I am still on beat, showing love to the streets. Come on, you know me, cause that's who I am.
And good afternoon, Shock Joxx, Kevin Hastings, Hunter Yancey, getting dialed in here. Friday, March 20th, 2020. Good morning, fellas.
Good morning.
Happy, it is morning, just right before the morning. Happy Friday. I'm so jammy in my ear. I know y'all can't hear that right now, but I was over here just jamming as loud as I could. We got special guest here today, Phillip Russ, all the way from Florida to bring us the news from sunny Florida. Not too sunny right now, is it? Well, or have you been one of the folks down there on the beaches?
No,
You haven't been
when I left, it was 88, 89, and then I got home and it was 46. I was like, okay, I've been gone long enough. Now I'm frozen. Tried to mow the grass. I got off my dad's lawnmower and I called him and I was like, yeah, it's not like this in Florida right now.
It's too cold.
Yeah.
It's totally different, isn't it?
Definitely.
Weather-wise. I think the worst month down there is September maybe for the humidity, but other than that, it's pretty good down there with the weather. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Missed you up here, of course, on a lot of our stuff. Good to have you today. We've been rushing. I didn't even really talk to you about what's going on and everything. What's up with you guys in your school? And you're back up here, I guess, today on Friday. Are you guys doing distance learning and things like that down there from Florida? And give us the heads up on what's going on in Florida right now.
Well, I'm going to tell you that I think it's like any school system right now. Everybody's scrambling. It's a knee-jerk reaction with the athletic piece. The Florida High School Athletic Association is kind of like every other athletic association across the Southeast. They are not wanting to make drastic measures to try to end the season. We're still technically in a suspension, postponement, awaiting the next call. They moved us from March 30th to April 15th this past weekend. So April 15th, if things were to clear out, obviously they'd modify our schedule. I'll tell you that they released some information the other day to us in a memo that kind of has got colleges calling me about recruits. So the Florida High School Athletic Association is going to allow the opportunity for kids to reclassify, and that's freshmen to seniors. So you've got seniors that may have been recruited that are potentially sitting and saying, well, I'm a D2 guy, but if I get more film, I could probably go NAIA, Division I AA, and they have that option now to, reclassify. And, freshmen get a red shirt freshman year. So as a coach, it's exciting. As a college coach, it's got to be frightening. So the college coaches I've talked to in the last couple of days, actually within the last 48 hours, they've got that clearance from the NCAA where they can call and they can recruit. And so they've been busting down the door, and my phone's been off the hook. And then I'm like, hey, well, recruiting these Florida athletes, just want to give you a heads up. Our state's talking about like washing out this year and allowing kids to get everything done. Now, just within our team, we played a game. It was really interesting. We played our last game against a district opponent. So I'm winning the game. It's a big game. We're doing really awesome things. And my AD comes in the dugout in the 5th inning. It's like, well, we just kind of got told the season has been canceled. So we're kind of in that dilemma. Should we finish the game? And I'm like, yes, we're up 9-0. We need to finish this game.
Yeah.
So we finished the game. Then we had a meeting where we were talking about Saturday, because down there JV plays all games on Saturdays and doubleheaders. And they were like, all right, you're going to play. And within 15 minutes, I had, you're playing, you're not playing, you're playing, you're not playing. Then they finally pushed it out like everywhere else. Now, it's been slower to move. I think North Carolina has done an outstanding job with getting the decisions made quicker. Florida has been a little bit, not in a lag. I just think that it's not got to our state as quickly. And so now we're sitting, just like everybody else now in this holding pattern. But, within range, the kids are allowed to get together on their own. There's nothing I can run, but I've got about 13 or 14 kids that are on their own, going to training facilities, hitting, throwing.
Yeah.
But in a whole, it's just self-growth. I mean, there's a lot of coaches getting together doing, these podcasts together. I mean, it's wild. They're using all these apps and stuff. But the big thing I wanted to talk about with you guys is where the NCAA is right now. And then if let's say North Carolina takes and jumps on board with what Florida's doing, this reclassification, the last time that I could ever think of something like this was probably when the Surratt brothers came out. And, they got I think it was Chaz got the extra year because he played in a non-sanctioned school and it was like a privatized school, and then was able to go technically to his redshirt freshman year at East Lincoln for 4 years.
Right.
And if they do that, how does that change the landscape of high school athletics? Because even with college, I don't know if y'all have paid attention to it, but they've now abolished the scholarship rule. So instead of you saying you're restricted to 28 scholarships, you now can have unlimited, because seniors may come back to their next year. So it's definitely eye-opening. We're in uncharted water right now and trying to make decisions. And I just, I hope and pray that they really think through. I think right now it's still so fresh that they're just trying to do small steps. And these decisions they're making, there's going to be so much policy and so many amendments that are going to come in, because we don't know how to do that. I mean, even as a teacher, I've talked to some of my teacher friends here in Cleveland County. They're just now learning how to build Canvas and do online learning. Like, we were not prepared for this.
Right.
So on the academic athletic side, you think SATs right now are big test times.
Yeah.
So these kids aren't getting their test scores out, and they're not getting feedback from the schools about scholarships, and applications aren't being accepted. So all of life has been put on hold in the athletic academic stage, and there's a lot of uncertainty with high school seniors right now. And I think that's the only way to do it, is to give them that option to reclassify and give them those opportunities back.
Yeah, obviously this has hit a lot of people like a truck, just how we've embraced it as a culture, as a society, whether it's, like you said, in the teaching world and the sports world. It's put everything really on hold at this point. But I think, I was listening to a doctor.
Real quick, what are you on?
What am I on?
Are you on the Netgear network?
What am I? No, yes, it's switched back over to Netgear.
All right, well, I'm on the KTC now, and now it's telling me I can't connect on the DNS. So it's obviously the KTC router and not the Netgear then.
It's got
right?
the coronavirus.
We've got something.
Dude, I'm serious.
Corona.
Something is happening in this area, or at least here with this internet, that it's making me want to pull my hair out.
I think it's the KTC. We're going to switch over. All right, go ahead, Hunter.
Anyways, I was just saying, I was listening. Colin is still doing his talk show, and he brought on a doctor just to kind of talk about it and kind of just lay it out, what we'll be looking for in the future. And I agree with the statement that he said. I'm paraphrasing, of course. I can't remember what he said word for word, but he said, sometimes you have to be slapped in the face with this in order to grow. He said, we're going to learn from this, and next time if anything happens like this where it's worse, we'll be better prepared for it. And I think this could be technically a good slap in the face for the educational system, and for the sports world, for them to learn from this moment. I know people could say, oh, well, we've blown it out of proportion, but it's like, you know what? We've got things to really take into consideration. We're lucky that it's not worse and that it's not got a high spread rate right now and a high mortality rate. It could be a lot worse, and I think that I think we're going about this the right way, It's just the learning process along the way of to make sure that we are doing this correctly.
I think I heard it best. Our principal put out an email, and it was just kind of like, we're being give the test, and then here in a couple weeks we'll get the actual lesson, and we'll get the study guide to it.
Yeah.
Just because if you look at the grand scheme of it, I mean, this is all brand new. Like, the only people that seem to have function right now is the NFL execs with the moves and trades. They're trying to make moves and can, push life forward and keep doing things that are going to better their program. But in all other terms, I mean, if you look on Twitter, like, just to give a plug to Coach Pruitt, I mean, the man has Cherville's weight room right now is probably the cleanest, bacteria-free, shiny it's ever been ever.
Right.
But you've got all these high school coaches. They don't know what to do with their time. And, it's in sport, it's really cool because you're seeing a lot of guys get together now, and we're not thinking about game plans. We're talking about our athletes, but we're also, we're going online with workouts. We're going online and having digital meetings with staff. There's things that it's making the sports world stronger. Like you said, the slap in the face is you weren't prepared for this. So if this ever was to trim and fall down and happen again, will we be ready? Education wise, it's going to really, in Florida, they've already canceled all of our state assessments. The only thing left is AP. And, the biggest thing people always say was standardized testing. Teachers have always, just grumbled about that. And now it's, well, let's see how these kids learn from a digital standpoint. And what, there could be time to come where teachers are going to be non-existent in the classroom. It's more of a facilitation role. If we can teach digital, then maybe now on these platforms, kids are going to be still learning on spring break, on Easter break, Christmas break. The education system in the U.S. could actually get stronger through this, and we could be the forefront, because right now, like countries like India, China, Japan, they're leading the forefront in science and math.
Yeah.
Here we kind of spend more history, English, that's kind of like our strength in America. But, if you look, it's kind of going to level the playing field out a little bit. But no, like the athletic thing, I think is got everybody nervous is, for one, you care about the kids. I mean, there's thousands of seniors in college that were told you've played 10 games and it's over. Thank you for your dedication and service. There's a lot of times that me and Kevin, we talk about the NCAA and the money that's in it. And, do you pay athletes? Do you not pay athletes? Well, now you sit here and look, okay, all of these kids are now without an opportunity. And how, April's next month.
Yeah.
What happens with the Major League Baseball draft? They do have data on kids, but the sleepers, the dark horses that you don't plan to see drafted, I mean, do they get that opportunity now? So, I mean, it is a landscape of do's and don'ts. Trial and error is going to be huge through this. But I think we're going to come from it. I pray that we never have another epidemic like we're facing right now on a global sense, because this affects, this fall was supposed to be the World Baseball Classic. And that was something that was a lot of fun for everybody.
Right.
And a football coach from Alabama, one of the staffers there, he pushed out, guys, if you don't start taking this serious, you're not going to have a football season.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if we don't quarantine
100%.
and figure it out, we're going to lose more than what we're losing right now.
100%. That's why, it drives me insane when I see these videos come out from these news outlets that are down there interviewing the dumb kids that are still going to spring break at the beach. There's a case here in Guilford County here in North Carolina, and, they were wondering where it came from. It came back from Florida. Yeah. And I know you're in Florida, but
we'll keep 6 feet apart.
Yeah, we 6 feet apart. But those that are actively, practicing social distancing, I know it's hard, but I mean, they wouldn't tell us to do this if it wasn't effective, obviously. And I know, obviously, as a country, we're not as compact as Italy is, where everybody's right on top of each other. Same with China, but even still, if you don't feel good, don't go outside. I saw a kid that in one of the interviews they did, I think it was on Good Morning, on one of the Good Morning channels. He basically was like, if I get corona, I'm still gonna party. I'm like, dude, you're an idiot. But I mean, I'm glad that you actively don't mind getting the flu. Basically, and you don't mind
somehow.
You don't mind passing it to everybody else. I'm just like,
die
okay,
somehow, Hunter.
well, I know somehow, but I would like to at least have a choice on whether or not I'm going to let a virus kill me or not. You know,
Right.
and see what he doesn't understand either is if I was down there and I was one of the people that wasn't really taking it into consideration. You know, I've said this multiple times on here. I'm high risk. I have an immune system deficiency. Like I'm high risk. If I'm not knowing that and I'm just down there partying with everybody else, and the guy is not considerate enough that he might contract it and then pass it on to me, and then I have to fight all the respiratory problems that comes with it that turns it deadly. It's like, dude, I mean, basically that's on you. That was your fault because you didn't take into consideration. Oh, maybe if I don't go out and get drunk tonight, maybe this guy that I'm sitting there at the bar with won't get sick and end up in the hospital.
Phillip, I had said something, Hunter, the other day about you just talk about the college thing. Why don't the NCAA just issue a across the board red shirt medical season? Because it's not, to me, it's not fair to the underclassmen. They lose a year.
Yeah.
No matter what. So if you say we're going to give the seniors a year, why wouldn't you just give everybody a year and say, hey, this is the same thing? As far as it doesn't change anything,
right?
As far as athletes, all it does is makes one department have to pay the other department for how many more seniors are actually going to be per school. It's not to me, and I think the government can cover that if we really needed to do it.
Well, I think it needs to go across the whole board, though. I mean, in the saddest way, you almost have to just scrap 2020 and start. I think this fall you start back fresh. Now, if the kid here's my only debate that I would have is, let's say you have a high school senior or you have college seniors that, like a Jerry Jeudy, he's already paid, he's in the NFL. Like if you're drafted, you have the option to go.
Yeah.
If everybody else, you have that option to push reset and you get another year at your institution. But it has to, I think it's got to go across the board because like we were talking about in our high school.
Well, college basketball kind of does something like that where they allow you to go and at least test, go to the combine, get your workout in, see what kind of interest is there for you. And if the interest really isn't there, because, you know, they only do like, and it's not like the NFL and Major League. It's only 2 rounds. Like there's not a guarantee out of the 60, 70 people that go, you're going to get picked. But you know, they let them go, test the water, see if there's interest. If not, then they let them come back. But it has to be by a certain time period. Is that kind of like what you're leaning towards?
Yeah, because like my only thought is you got kids that know they're getting their money. I mean, like, you know,
obviously.
like Judy and Jalen Hurts and those guys in the draft, they're going. You've got baseball kids that knew they were going.
Right.
Like, I'm just thinking if you don't freeze it across the board and say everybody needs to take a reclassification year, you're just going to lose this year. Or you say nobody's going to be able to go back, because here was our thing in our high school. We're at cap at our high school. We're 2,700 kids.
Okay.
We can't intake, you know, if all of our seniors say, okay, we're staying, and then we try to intake our 8th graders, where do we put them? You're going to have severe displacement.
That backs it up all the way down.
So, I mean, really, if the government comes out and says, hey, we're going to lock this all down,
well, right now,
everybody
Phillip,
stays in place.
Right now, Phillip, we've got the whole summer. We've got spring break. We've got Easter break. The high schools hadn't even went to Easter break.
Right.
So why aren't we around, and especially around here, we didn't have a snow day this year. So why aren't we just pushing the schedule back right now as opposed to because to have that argument, you're saying everything's done, right, as of this year, right? To have the who gets an extra year. But I mean, to me, I think everyone kind of has to go through the school year part is different to me than the athletic part. You're just going to have to suck it up at some of these athletic things. I believe, and you're gonna have to just. I mean, if a senior sprains his ankle, you know, during football when he's a basketball player, or vice versa, and you miss your season, I mean, you don't get it back, and some things happen, you know, in life that way, and it is really hard high school wise. Colleges they can do extra years and this and that, but the high school thing, you're right. What are you going to do about if you're having people stay or go? Maybe with the high schools in today's high school way, you know, you're almost not graduating. You only need a certain number of credits as opposed to years. Maybe each and every individual state can figure out some way in that to say, hey, go another semester, and you've got your hours and graduate. A lot of high schools graduate in the fall now.
Yeah.
I know around here, West Lincoln even does that now. That you can graduate in December. So maybe that's an option, Phillip, is push it back a semester as far as school.
Yeah, I mean, but see, the schools, this is the academic piece that kind of floored everybody. When the Florida DOE, Department of Education, got down and decided they were going to get rid of all assessments. And they started looking at these testing schedules and things like that. So essentially what's being pushed down is, hey, like teachers right now, like for instance, I've talked to 2 teachers that work in Cleveland County. They're doing like shelter in place, or they can actually go to their school. They're trying to develop online lessons.
Right.
These are untested. These are unprecedented. These are things that are going to be out of the thing. They're being told by school superintendents and all these personnel, you really can't test it, because how do you know if the test scores that you're getting are legitimate? Because at home, everybody's got Google. And,
you're right.
And mom and dad could be doing the work. How do you validate? I'll tell you what's driving me nuts right now is they're asking us educators to log hours, to have proof that we're actually at home. So they're wanting us to take in our homes 6.5 hours, document that on paper to say that. So how many people are going to cut corners? Like, for instance, in theory, what is your PE teacher going to do for 6.5 hours in his home? He's going to get on Peloton and record a video of him riding a bike and telling kids how good physical fitness is. How do you log those hours? And so they don't know these things. And because it's an untested platform, like,
we're gonna have some PE teachers getting in better shape than they've ever been.
Well, I'll tell you,
workouts.
It's weird,
A good place you can find a workout, Phillip, I'll tell you what, for if you want to spread your athletes around, is former Cherryville Post 100 player Ralph Roberts, personal trainer. He posts his stuff online.
Sweet.
Follow him on Facebook, just Ralph Roberts Training. I posted off our WCSL Twitter feed. It's one little exercise thing. He's got this. He's got different programs, of course, different things. One of them is your 30-day body transformation, and I think that would be perfect for these athletes to do. It's just basic, non-weight,
like body weight
exercises.
Yeah.
And Ralph has been featured in Men's Health magazine, top 10 trainers in the nation. Of course, like I said, former Cherryville athlete here, and I would just get on a look. You might find some stuff you can share with you guys. And he's a baseball trainer too.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of some fun baseball videos and things like that. You can get on and follow Ralph, and there's people on YouTube and all other type of things.
If you want to plug, this will blow you away. I know you're a Cardinals fan, but like I got a text yesterday from Brandon Nimmo and Steven Matz and Pete Alonso. Some of those guys were like, "Hey, do you mind if we use your field to throw?" Because the Mets shut down their facility. They won't let these guys in.
Right.
So like they're going out, and it's just wild because it's such a weird time. Like I told my dad, I said, got an MVP out on my baseball field right now, long tossing.
Yeah.
And I've got 2 other millionaires working out.
Right.
And
have you not dared anyone to that you can't get it by you? Pick up the bat, Phillip, and say, "Come on!"
No, there's a
Bring
guy.
the heat.
I've made friends with this guy. And this was during regular season. He was throwing his bullpen. His name's Bryce Hutchinson. He plays for the Columbia Fireflies. He's trying to get on the AAA team, and me and him were talking, and he was throwing the ball, and I was like, "Do you mind if I just stand in there in your pen and just like look at it, like stand in the box?"
Yeah.
And he let that thing go, and it was about 90, 96. I was like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna stick to coaching."
Yeah, I can't do that right.
If he loses control, then
you
I'm
almost
just
have to
eating it.
immediately swing at 90.
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
Like I'm
It's
telling you,
just 5 to
96.
10.
It's like
I think 92. I
you
think
hear
is about
it,
the fastest
and
I've
it's
seen.
like a white faded blur.
Yeah.
And you're just swinging in a location. Like when people say, "Oh, I can see the seams of the ball," I'm like,
Doesn't that just drive you crazy?
I'm
when
like,
people
"There's
say
no way.
that?
Like,
No,
I can't be that. I can't be that blind."
no.
But no, like in this whole deal, they could. I think they are.
You
gonna
bet lefty or righty?
lefty.
Okay, I didn't know. How'd you like to see a Randy Johnson slider?
Well, here's the thing, like that, Chris Sale. But I mean, people forget in our Easter tournament at Burns, we faced Madison Bumgarner.
Yeah.
And that in itself, probably one of the greatest pitchers in the postseason.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
And not saying he obviously developed when he got pro, but in high school he's pretty good when
Wasn't
you're seeing.
bad.
I quit playing baseball in my middle school year because Hunter Harvey's only a year older than me, and I was sick and tired of seeing him.
There you go.
I was tired of playing against him in Optimus Ball.
You were about to be teammates from then on out,
because
Hunter.
we knew you're different. You got, obviously you've got the professional training through your father, and your brother played at least collegiate and minor league baseball. So like what your skill set is right now, you're different. And I was like, you know what? If they're gonna be like that, I don't want to mess with it.
That's it.
I don't want to mess with it.
Well, Phillip, looking, since you're a baseball coach, we'll talk a little baseball here before we get into some NFL free agency.
Gotcha.
With them, we had all kinds of things this postseason. We got the cheating scandals.
Yeah.
You had any Astros call you? No, Astros.
No.
They're in Texas.
No, but I'm gonna tell you, even kids
Arizona?
are funny. Like for instance, we had a pitcher that was shoving in one of our games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, I just hear this banging on the trash can, and I just stare at the dugout, and I say, time. And the umpire come in, he's like, hey, you can't do that. And I say, hey, Blue, they got my signs or what? Like, it's like we're gonna call a fastball here. If they start banging really fast and they're on time with hitting, what are you gonna do? And he's like, they're just messing with you, coach. They're messing with you. I was like, all right. So the kids are still having fun with it. I mean, I've seen more Astro gear like at my baseball practice. Like, coach, we're just trying to have any edge as possible. And I'm like, all right.
Jeez.
You're gonna get pegged when you go to the plate, but good luck.
Yeah.
That's funny. So we've had that. Some of the guys that have you seen the Bauer wiffle ball baseball? Trevor Bauer put together a celebrity wiffle ball game.
No way.
They were all mic'd up too, so that was pretty neat.
Awesome.
To check that out online. Me and Hunter's all in favor of them just canceling as many regular season games as possible
I agree.
and expanding the postseason like they've talked about.
Just rush to October.
Well, hey, they play 162 games.
What's 20 of them gone?
What
Oh,
is
yeah.
60 of them gone? The math, the Royals won 50 something games.
Imagine
last
what
year.
that does to your arms. Like,
Yeah.
like your favorite player, Albert Pujols.
Mm-hmm.
What does that do to him? Like now that dude's feeling like a stud.
Wouldn't it be
pony
better?
again.
Oh, yeah.
Just for I would rather have.
You don't take as many nights off now either because
And
you
you
don't
don't-
have the games.
Right,
You don't have
the
the
dog
number of
days.
games.
You don't have those days where
Right.
and it's game 105. My hammy's kind of sore. I'm gonna
It's
go out
game.
here.
This is my second doubleheader of the week.
Yeah,
I'm tired.
It makes for good baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I think and here's the other thing.
Would you
like-
not rather see though? So they're talking about expanding the playoffs, and I'm all for that. I would rather see more postseason baseball and less regular season baseball.
I agree.
If you're going to, especially let's say Red Sox and Yankees, they'll play 15, 16 times. If they tie, instead of going back to the record 1-1, 10-5, they go, we got to play one more, boys. That one more means so much than the other 15.
That's it.
And that just drives me crazy. And then it would be much better to have a 120 game season and have more teams in the playoffs and having that's so much more exciting in baseball too, playoff baseball. Then all right, after game 75, what's the point of the second half of the season? Kansas City Royal fans going to the games, or if your team's like I said, if your only team's
If you're
only
the
winning
bottom
50
end
games, what is the
you're
point?
20 games behind, you're not making the playoffs.
The only point that you would go to one of those games as a diehard fan, or I'd want to take my kids. Hey, buddy, let's go see.
Or
it.
your
Let's
team's
go eat
good
some
enough
cheap
that
hot
they're going to
dogs.
make a run. Because even then, Tampa Bay's got a great squad.
Yeah.
Nobody goes to the games.
No, 'cause
nobody.
like when the Red Sox came into town, we got cheap tickets. I sat 6 rows from the Red Sox dugout watching my Red Sox play, and I was like, "How the price we paid?" And you're looking around the stadium, and they're giving tickets away. There's
Giving
like
them away.
every youth program in the state of Florida,
And they
every
still
mom and pop
still can't even pull
nonprofits
probably
there and there. There's like
5,000 people.
no, and they all got colored T-shirts on. I'm like, geez, did we just come on youth night? And then they're like on the scoreboard, they're like, tomorrow night is bring your dog to the park. You get a free
I got
ticket
a
for your dog
question.
and
Yeah.
your kids. I'm like, holy cow.
I got a question as far as school programs concerned. Do you guys have, schools take field trips, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys take field trips to any spring training games? That should be almost a staple in the Florida program. Every school or even, kindergarten all the way through there, that could be something that they should be able to work together with.
Well, all right. So in our county, it would be like if you say at Shelby High School, the baseball field we have in Shelby, if that was your minor league ball club, and that's where all the major leagues come in. So they run different programs. They reach out to high schools, and they do that. So they don't burn school days. They'll hit us up. Like on Saturday, we went to a clinic, I would say probably 3 weeks ago, and the hospital put on a fast twitch muscle stretch for my team. But it was cool because they gave us great tickets. We watched the Mets play the Nationals. You're seeing we sat there and we watched. I can't even think of his name. What's the not Syndergaard, but what's the other guy they got that's really 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 good on the bump?
DeGrom.
DeGrom's. Yeah. So we watched him go through 3 innings of work. You're seeing Robinson Cano stroking across the yard. You got some studs.
Corona, get away.
So I mean,
Get that Purell right now.
they had these programs, and then it was kind of cool because our kids go and we're training on their training fields.
Yeah.
Which if you've never seen one of those setups, it's insane what they've got.
I played on the. Oh, sorry. Our 13-year-old All-Star team. We went to Florida. We played at the Montreal Expos training facility. Believe it or not, it was the Expos. I was thinking, whose was it? Oh crap! It was the Expos. We played at the Expos training facility, and they had like 8 fields there. So, our tournament only needed to use 2 of the fields, but it was pretty neat that we were actually playing where they practiced and everything like that. So we got to see all that. So they had some players there warming up.
Well, I mean, it was just like Tim Tebow came out, and it was ironic that in that game he got the pinch hit and he had 2 hits. And I just the coach in me wasn't like, my assistant coach was like, "Hey, want a picture with him?" And I was like, "I just want to go tell him good job." Like he actually inside out the baseball, he went backside, and I'm like, "Dang, that's Tebow. Like he's not supposed to be hitting."
No,
and he's learning baseball. And I went up and I dapped him up and I said, "Tim," I was like, "Good hit today." Like
he was Florida State Player of the Year in high school.
Yeah, but I mean, when you see what he did as a Gator and the football phenom that he was, so he
I saw him when he came to play against the Knights last year, and let me tell you, he got an earful because he played awful.
Yeah.
I mean, 0 for 3.
They didn't even let him play in the field. They
got an earful.
They like DH'd him, and
the earful was from me.
From you?
It was from me. It was from me.
You were the one misbehaving.
No lie. I literally stood up and said they don't give out Heismans in baseball.
But I'm gonna tell you, like, just to tell you about
Did
it.
he give you the finger?
No.
Did you get Tebow to give you the finger?
No.
But
I didn't say anything like rude about him. I just was basically poking fun at like, why are you in baseball when you should have taken the fullback position everybody wanted you to play.
Well, he's got less stress on his body now.
Oh, now, God.
And
he
if
still
you think
has
about
all
it,
his money.
financially, economically, it was the best decision for him because he now gets to still do his SEC talk show.
Yeah, he still
gets
makes
to play
money.
pro baseball.
He'll be getting paid like Romo one day.
But anyways, to continue on
Maybe.
your question, we played maybe 2 weeks ago. We played at Dodgertown.
Yeah.
Where Jackie Robinson played. His training camps there, and it was really cool because you see what R.A. Dickey had done. For instance, just like a little cool story. There's like this little hilly, bumpy ground right behind left field, and I was sitting there talking to the groundskeeper, and he's old as dirt. Like he looked like he knew Jackie Robinson. I was like, and he's out there raking the bullpen mound before our game. We played the #1 team in Maryland. We played the Matha Catholic, and I'm talking. He said, "Yeah," he said, "You boys get to play here for free. These boys flew down from Maryland." I was like, "Sir, what is that out there?" I said, "That's really weird looking ground." He goes, "Well, let me tell you a story, young man." So we sit down and and I'm like, all right, like I'm fixing to go coach my team. I'm out there in my garb. I disappear from my team. I'm out in there with Father Time on a bench in a bullpen.
Right.
And he proceeds to tell me the coolest story ever. So R.A. Dickey and them let the players have days off on Sundays. They go play golf. Well, obviously during that time, African Americans weren't allowed to play where the white folks were to play.
Right.
So he basically tries to play golf as a Brooklyn Dodger, and they pretty much shun him. No, you're not. So he comes back, and the rest of the team's out, and him and Dickey have this conversation, and he's really just hitting off a tee on his off day. And they asked him, he said, "Jackie, like, why aren't you playing golf? Like, you need to take time away from baseball, go relax." And he explained the situation.
Right.
And so what did Dickey do? He went and paid whatever at that time was high-end money, and they built a 9-hole golf course on the training grounds. And then he made a requirement that no player could go off grounds to play golf.
They have to play
so
there.
now Jackie got to play with his teammates.
I thought you were going to tell me you bought the golf course.
No, like he just went out and built his own. And
That's
what's
pretty
wild is they're fixing to like cover up that history. Like they're going to expand Dodgertown now because minor league baseball or Major League Baseball's bought that.
Right.
And they just put on a great facility there. We were actually scheduled to play April 15th on Jackie Robinson Day there against a team out of Ohio. That's obviously not going to happen now, considering that's the day we come back. But you've got history like that. There's a field we were going to play in South Florida called Little Fenway.
Yeah.
That they've built a park that is identical, the dimensions and everything to Fenway. We had a game scheduled at JetBlue Field. We had a game scheduled at it's called Clover Park now, which is the New York Mets minor league stadium that they play in. So the options to play baseball and put your kids in great situations is there. In the terms of recruiting, I'm getting more kids recruited out of Florida to South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, not because this is where I'm from and I have a better network.
Right.
You're not going to Florida colleges if you don't throw 85 plus. It doesn't matter if it's community college or Division I. it starts at 85 and up. And if you're not touching that, you know, I can get a guy 84 to 85 here. 84, 85 is a dime a dozen in Florida. So the baseball's different. The athlete's different. And it's been even in a short season, we played 10 games in our season. We started before North Carolina. But it was really rewarding. You know, we were extremely young and we were going, and when we peaked, we were peaking at the right time.
That's good.
So yeah, it's definitely changed a lot of things. But also in baseball, like the cool thing is having these pros to talk to and bounce stuff off of, and then hearing them talk to my team and say, look, this coach, it kind of, I guess it hypes you up a little bit. Like, damn, I'm really teaching what I'm supposed to teach, because these pro guys are sitting there saying, hey, these guys are taking your arm care serious. The training they're doing is exactly what we're doing.
Here's the question me and Hunter have about that.
Yeah.
When they're in there in the box and they're swinging the bat, are they talking about how to get .001 WAR each game, or you only get .02 WAR a game, so I'm better than you? Are they talking WAR in the batter's box? Or are they
Do
talking
your kids
rip the baseball?
Do your kids?
Have you ever mentioned the word WAR to your high school
never.
baseball
I was about
players?
to say, do your kids, when they talk about maybe their statistics, do they bring up WAR? Do they talk about, I'm batting this?
No, and
I
I'll
got
be
this
honest with
many
you,
doubles.
like the batting average piece, you get that more from the parents. The kids are talking to you, and it's cool. And even the pro guys, like we went the other night and had an event with Brandon Nimmo. He's an outfielder for the Mets. And, and I said, Brandon, good game day. He said, yeah, man, I really squared some balls up. And I was like, that's exactly what my high school kids are talking. Like, it's cool to hear baseball people, not stat people, not front office people, not your scouts that are making up this kung fu statistic to make a separation.
How much better is it to listen to baseball players as opposed to an analytics person that stopped playing baseball in second grade but wants to tell you how to play baseball, who played in college and other things? Is that not like, come on, dude?
it just shows you how pure the game stayed. And it's like when you get around the managers are coaches just like us, but they speak baseball. And then I'm like, well, what do you do when these like people come down there with their spreadsheets and their diagnostics and stuff? And he's like, the data, he said, I've got binders of data on my desk. He said, at the end of the day, I can hear the sweet spot of the bat crack. I can hear the whiz of the fastball hit the mitt. And he said, and I know what we're looking at. He said, now the technology of spin rate and miles per hour and arm angle, he said, that stuff I pay attention to. He said, in terms of other numerics, he said, the front office tells us, and he said, they pay the bills. They're the ones who write the check. If they tell me you start this dude, you start that dude, or you have the full, autonomy to set up your lineup. He said, if they give me that to start my lineup, I'll do it. If they tell me this kid in minor league ball is ready, I'll look at him. And he said a lot of, at least with the Mets, he said a lot of our stuff, because there's been a lot of sabermetrics gone with Syndergaard. Just like if you think about Strasburg, like these pitching metrics and dynamics they've tried to slow these guys into the league, because it's turned into, do you want, here's a great example. Do you want a Robert Griffin III or Andrew Luck with multiple knee injuries, or do you want the Peyton Manning, Tom Brady to sustain? And so when they're drafting these kids, they're using these metrics to say, okay, Strasburg, you have 30.2 innings based on these computer diagnostics and diagrams. When you throw 30.2 innings, you are now done for a month. Now you're coming back and throwing 12 innings. And Syndergaard, you're only going to throw 80% fastballs, 20% this. And that's how we're going to gauge your pitch selection and calls, because we determined that when the study, like, those things they put in video games with the little bulbs on their body, those players actually have to go through that several times throughout the year. And they're studying the pressure on their muscle groups, their bones, and then they say the torque and all. I mean, it is way far out of the game of baseball that they have professionals that get paid a ton of money to figure it out. And when you talk to the baseball guy, he's like, dude, I just know my elbow's sore, and I go and I do what they say. I stretch, I throw. I just do baseball. They tell me what they need me to do. They hook me up to machines. The funniest thing is it always takes me back to Jadeveon Clowney when he talked in Charlotte at the Bronco Nagurski thing. They were like asking all these people, and there was all these formulated answers, like Manti Te'o, and all these people are like, yes, we're on this formulated workout routine with blah, 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 blah. And then Jadeveon was real with the kids. He says, I'll be real with you. He said, they give me the shakes, I drink the shakes. They give me the pills, I take the pills. I don't ask no questions because they keep me on the field.
Right.
He said, that's all I got to say. And I was like, even though that sounded street to everybody in the room, that was like the corporate people that were in the room.
But we knew it.
I'm like, dude, that makes so much sense. Like, he's there to play football.
Right.
You snap the ball, he's going to come tackle you. He
That's
don't
his
care.
job.
You know, you tell him take this pill, this vitamin, you take this protein shake,
Right.
and it's going to get him on the field even better. They're going to do it. That's how athletes are set up.
That's our mindset all the time. You know, it's just like, look, is it gonna make me not hurt? Okay, fine. Is it gonna maybe make me gain a few extra pounds legally? Okay,
But
that's
y'all,
fine.
how about this? Y'all played sports. Let me ask you this, Kevin. You're now back in high school, okay, and you're strapping.
By the
up.
way, if we were doing war in high school, I think I'm the greatest baseball player to ever play.
There you go.
I just want everybody to know that I'm better than Ralph. He hit 28 home runs and I didn't hit any. But according to war stats and where you played, I think I'm right up there with him. My own
Ralph
base
somewhere,
percentage.
he's somewhere laughing.
My
right
own
now.
base percentage was outstanding.
But no, seriously, think about this. Like, what if I told you, what you used to probably just go up there, grip it, see the pitch, and just try to hit.
All
You
right.
didn't really think a
No,
whole lot
well-
about it. It's just like, here comes the pitch. I'm gonna try to put a bat on it.
So, as far as I'm concerned, myself, I can only speak about myself. I was contact hitter, doubles. I could not lift the ball in the air. I did not lift
Right.
it, but I could bang them off
But
the
I'm
ball.
saying,
all
what was
damn
in
day.
your mind when you went to the plate? Like, when you look at a pitcher, you're like, okay, I can hit this guy.
Well,
what are
first,
you thinking?
I'm swinging. I was almost swinging first pitch every time.
okay.
I didn't want to. My thing was I don't want to strike out. I think striking out was the worst thing a batter could do.
Right.
So I struck out 6 times my whole senior year, 3 times in 1 week, and I almost wanted to just bang a bat in my face. And it is the Easter tournament, and they got me. Teams I hadn't played yet, and I had a bad week. And I just want to bang it drove me crazy striking out because if I put the ball in play, something can happen. I could beat it out, something can happen. I can move someone over. And so I did not want to strike out was my thing. So first pitch, I wanted to hit fastball. Every batter, whatever. I don't care every at bat, bring me the fastball. But once I after I got to hit the first time or hit the fastball the first 2 pitches, obviously they were throwing curves after that. So I never. Brody Taylor threw a perfect game on us. The game before we played against him, Trey Bridges was pitching. First 2 at bats, we grew up together. He threw fastballs to me. I've seen it. You know, his coach was probably calling throw fastballs. I hammered him. I ain't seen a first pitch fastball from Shelby since. So my thing was I didn't want to strike out. That was my number one thing. So I was happy with a 1 for 3 day and a walk.
So
That was
pretty
good
much-
for
pretty
me.
much
Against 90 miles per hour and pitch, and if it's below it, I wanted 2 or 3 hits. I
Right.
was trying to bang it, but once we got Mason Bridges and all the McLemore and everybody
Right.
throwing 90 right at 90, I'm like, get a hit, get on
Yeah.
base once, and then whatever happens in the last 2.
So it's easy to
just do
say
it.
that you had the KISS method. You kept it simple, stupid. You went
Right.
out there. I'm gonna go up there and do my job.
I could hit if it's over the plate. I'm really honest to good, Phil. If it's over the plate, I could put the bat on the ball.
Right.
Whether I'm gonna put it in play or foul it off, I'm
see,
very
like,
good
the
at contact. So I'm looking strikes. I'm not looking to bang a home run. I never could. And some people, I wish I had the power to do that. Like Dustin Day will sit there, and I'll tell you what he does. He looks at first pitch every time. He wants to gauge the speed.
Right.
And then he wants to, because then after the first pitch, he thinks he can guess what you're pitching. That was
Right.
what his mentality was. So he was thinking, if you throw the fastball, I'm hammering this thing right now.
Yeah.
So when I was playing with him, I knew exactly what he was doing, but I was doing the complete opposite.
Right.
He's waiting for, I'm going to guess fastball where I want it, and I'm going to hammer it.
And the reason why I bring that up is in today's baseball,
Okay.
if you talk to somebody and they're teaching the game of hitting, it's so weird because you start hearing arm angle, spin rate. You're looking at, you're thinking about scenarios. It's
Right.
this scenario. This is the pitch. I mean, there's so much that we ask our athletes today.
How
to
many
think
different
about.
pitches are you seeing in high school? Really?
I mean,
3 most?
If it's a high quality Division I pitcher, you're seeing 3 to 4.
Right.
If it is a kid that's a pitcher and they've got any type of lesson, you're going to see 2 good pitches and you're going to see 1 pitch that they may don't have control over.
Right.
A lot of kids, if they throw a high velo pitch, like really fast fastball, it's not going to be very controlled. The controlled ones, that's the ones that are going D1. They usually got complementary pitches.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much in today's time, you're going to see 4-seam, 2-seam, curve change. You occasionally see a slider, but kids don't understand. Like there's a slider and a curveball, and they'll, hey, coach, I throw a slider, and you're looking at it, it's like, well, it's a 12-6. Like it's a curveball, but it's okay. Like
12-6
or it's like,
slider.
hey man, I got a 4-seam fastball. I'm like, well, that's a cutter. I mean, it's how are you holding it? And then every kid comes out there and they all have different like arm functions, and they do
Right.
different
I understand.
stuff.
I
But
threw
it's-
from different arm angles because I couldn't
but-
throw it that hard.
what I'm trying to say is like even in the sport, like the tech stuff, it makes sense on how to correct it, but I think you have to go back to old baseball. Like when we're teaching, like my hitting coach that I've hired, like he He's all gap to gap, double, square baseball up. Like we have certain goals we have in the cage. And he's like, hunt fastballs. That's our mantra. That's what we say, hunt fastballs.
Right.
Because, today, back in the day, people sought to hit fastballs and they were in fear of curves. Nowadays, we have batters today. They only want the curve change slider because they can slow it down and see it better. Like fastballs, and I who knows? It could have something to do with people looking at their phones, people being on computers, people playing video games that mess with their eyes.
Me and Dustin's the same age and two totally different bats. I've never seen him swinging a first pitch. But
you hunted fastballs. And see, nowadays that's a lost
He could
art.
hum it down the middle. The pitcher could say, Dustin, I'm going to throw this 85 right down the pipe. And he would just.
And then if
I'm 0-1.
And then if it's Phillip Russ, I'm swinging. My shoelaces are busted. Pablo Sandoval, my belt, there it goes. I mean, everything's coming out.
The most uncomfortable I am, and I'm guessing other batters are, is with two strikes.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to get to that point where now I don't know if you're going to throw a fastball curveball on two strikes.
Right.
So which is getting behind the batter. So I wanted to hit that first pitch, and if it's a ball, I take 1-0. Then we can start thinking about, because you can see when a pitcher misses, if he misses this far off or if he misses this far off. If he misses this far off, next pitch I'm probably not swinging, seeing what he's going to do.
Our big stuff is our big.
Like once you get 90 plus, a lot of that you're guessing.
Yeah, the stat that we stick with is because really all you can teach in hitting is approach and a mentality. So like your QABs are there. Because there's so many criteria what gives you a quality at bat. Then there's also, I mean, you can say batting average, but I mean that's kind of, you're chasing a number and it's kind of like weight loss. Like, Kevin, you might be looking skinny. I mean, man, you've lost weight since the last time I seen you. But if you step on the scale, you might be working out and gaining weight number,
right?
But physically looking better.
Right.
Same thing. You could be having a crappy batting average, be hitting 250. But when we look at your slugging percentage or we look at your on base percentage, they're not talking about you getting hit, getting walked, or when you hit with runners in scoring position. You could be a valuable 250 and be a very unvaluable 380.
We had a kid who lined in one of the tournaments. We made it. He was our 5-hole hitter. And Phillip, it was hilarious. He lined in 6 straight line drive outs. Pitcher, shortstop, third. Like just 6 straight at bats, and his batting average dropped out. And he just and when you only play so many games, you play 20, 25 games. 6 straight outs. In a bat, that's going to drop your batting average a lot of points. So I do remember that what you're talking about with that. One thing I wanted to the on base percentage to me is an overrated thing because here's why you can do the math on it. You could walk. I know this is a extreme example, but this to me this is why it is a good example because in math the further apart you go the worse I guess the proof right.
Right.
Don't know exactly how I'm trying to say that. So, but okay, Phillip, you could walk 4 batters an inning and never score a run.
Yeah.
So, you say in the Major League Baseball game, it means you can have 36 batters. What's that on base percentage? Over 1,000.
Yeah, and lose a ball game.
And what if my one batter? What if I go 1 for 27, and Mark McGwire hits at 500 feet, and my on base percentage is .065 or whatever it is.
Right.
And that's what I mean by gap, where you could have one person win a game in on base percentage when 36 people can walk, and that's how big the gap is on base percentage. So to me, that the on base percentage thing, why we've leaned so hard on that lately, is kind of baffling. As opposed to, I do like the hitting part because on the batting average, you are at least swingy. Yeah. So for an example, Phillip, if you've got Barry Bonds on your team and Jeff Kent, right? Do you want them to walk Bonds to get to Kent, or do you want Bonds to sit there and just walk? Would you rather have let's say a guy on third and 1 out. Some people hate the double play. Guy on third, 1 out. Would you want Bond swing the bat no matter what there? Or would you want him to walk and hope Kent can knock in the guy? See, my point of it is your best player you won't swing in the bat.
But see, old school baseball, you want him to swing. New school baseball, you say, okay, we're going to take that run. We're going to take him and put him on, and we're going to play games with the guy on deck. We're going to find a pinch hitter, and see that's where it gets so technical and mathematical.
Right. So why would I rather not have Barry Bonds swing on with a man on third and 1 out as opposed to Jeff Kent swinging? And that's the whole point. If the walk was so important and the on base percentage was so good, would we have intentional walks?
Well, I mean,
why are we intentional walking?
And see,
people?
I can go. We could dissect the entire game.
Intentional walk.
We could dissect the entire game of baseball.
Right.
You have Major League Baseball players. Right. And if I pay you $1 million, that's saying you're a professional in your field. When they do these shifts, It drives me absolutely freaking nuts when I'm like, just push it down the left field line. There's nobody there. Like
you don't even have to bunt. You just gotta
like defensively.
Flick your wrist.
But it's crazy because defensively, these coaches believe in what they're doing.
Yeah.
And you're telling a professional that his only job is to hit that white leather ball with a bat. That's all he's to do. I mean, I can take you to any church in the North Carolina slow pitch league, and you watch them take that softball and put it anywhere they want to hit
right.
it.
I can do that.
And so now you've got
Not
Major
over
League
the
Baseball
fence, though.
players
Can't hit
that
over the
see
fence.
millions of pitches in their career, and you're telling me that, like, I don't know. Like, baseball is that's what amazes me about the game. Like John Lester and his pickoff.
They haven't shifted on Pujols, have they?
No, but it's like,
because he's going to put it
like,
in that hole.
all right, you've pitched your whole life. How can you not have a pickoff move to first base? Like, how does John Lester not pick off? I mean, like, to me, it's like I got to trade him. Yeah, he's a good pitcher, but if he gets somebody on, we're screwed.
Right.
We're going. There's a runner going to first to second every time.
That's silly.
And it's just that's where the game's got that it makes no sense because. I mean, I would like to go and talk to some of the guys that coach me. I'd like to sit down with Coach Reynolds and be like, "Hey, Coach Reynolds, what's your thoughts about John Lester?" And you probably can't put that conversation on a microphone on the radio because
Podcast can.
because people aren't they're gonna be like, "What?" And I mean, because it goes outside the confines of the game and what you think you know about the game. Like a simple pickoff move, I can teach to an 8-year-old. And I have a 30-something-year-old man on the mound that gets paid a ton of money to do it.
Right.
You can't do it.
So with this stuff, like say, real quick, we're going to move to football and just say, like, so for example, Trout Pujols, and Pujols played 40 more games than him. And let's say, well, no, I'm not sorry. In Trout's career, he's played 1199. Pujols' first 8 years, he played 40 more games. Okay.
Right.
In those exact pretty much number of games, Trout has struck out more than twice as many times. His batting average, if it was a strikeout ratio, would be 250.
Yeah.
He strikes out 1 out of every 4 at bats. So every game, it's I think it's 159 per 162 games. He strikes out every game. As someone who kind of grew up at the same time I did, how can you if you were on the field, Phillip, and your teammate struck out twice as much as you did, would you? And people said, "Well, this guy's better than you." Would that just not be like, "Huh? I'm batting 20 points higher than me, and he strikes out twice as much as me." And to me, that the person who isn't striking out is the better hitter because you're swinging and missing. Now, at bats is different than hitting. I'm talking hitting, like swinging the bat. Ozzie Smith can sit up there and walk just as much time as Trout and Pujols can. But if you're actually hitting the ball and smashing it, like Barry Bonds is getting intentional walked, Ozzie isn't. They're both getting to first base somehow.
Right.
So it's because one can spank the ball and the other can't. And that just drives me
think
crazy.
It's whatever statistic you value.
Some people pick one out.
I mean, because
like
really,
strikeouts
really
and
and truly, like I've had that debate with my coaches. Like we were talking about, they wanted to argue with me, Manny Ramirez versus Albert Pujols, and I was like, if you don't pick Pujols, then I don't know that you can coach here anymore because they're two different guys. Like it's completely two different players. Right. Manny's one of the greatest hitters of all time. I was like, no. Like,
No.
I looked at him and I was like, guys, put the logic on paper. We literally ended practice 10 minutes early so I could take them into my classroom. And I said, that side of the chalkboard is yours. This is mine. You write up whatever you want to write about the player, and I'll write up whatever I want to write about the player. Put your stat line on Manny. You got 4 of you that believe in Manny, and I believe in Albert, and let's just see.
Right.
And when it was all done, they were like, okay, coach, you're right. That's probably why you're the head coach. I was like, no, it's just like you got to understand the game. You can't just go off of one stat. Like if you line them all up, stat for stat, and what Albert done in his career, a lot of players not
can't
doing.
compare
I mean,
Yeah,
even
there's
then, to me, people have argued, best
You seen
right-handed
this
hitters
shirt
of all
he's got on,
time.
by the
I
way.
do Johnny Mazzell.
Hey, man.
Well, let me ask you this. Here we go. I'm going to go. You're a big basketball guru.
Yeah.
So we'll go to like every kid in the whole wide world. MJ, LeBron.
Or I go Michael.
That's what I'm saying.
I go Michael,
so you
and
got
I go
LeBron.
Michael because I want to win. I want rings, man. I want
Have you heard my Space Jam
championships.
argument about the two? All right, I've got 2 arguments.
But I'll admit that LeBron might be second best of all time. I see the greatness that is LeBron, but I don't see the killer that I saw in Kobe.
Well, I mean, it's just like these kids.
And
When
Michael.
Kobe dies, right? All the kids at school want to talk about Kobe. And I one day, just being who I am, I like to spark a good conversation. I said,
who's better?
I said, Kobe or LeBron?
And what they say?
And the kids are like, LeBron's the best. I'm like, Really?
Why?
I was like, why? Is that because he's the only player that played in your lifetime for you to conjugally put together a belief? You're
I'm
only living
working.
in your
I've
lifetime.
mentioned this
Yes.
a couple times. I'm working right now
Recency
on
bias. Ain't that the
I'm
word?
working on an argumentative paper on why the 2010s basketball is not better than the 1990s, and the whole premise of it is, my English professor loved the sentence I used. It's the narrative that today's game, bigger, faster, and stronger, is better than, and that players in the 90s and early 2000s
Jordan would be coming off the Hornets
couldn't play
bench.
today.
I mean,
Exactly.
before you get to it, you're going to say,
I mean, Michael Jordan
Wilt
averaged
Chamberlain,
30
Wilt
points.
Chamberlain, or Zion Williamson, or Shaq, young Shaq, or Zion Williamson.
That's
who's the
exactly
best?
what it's going
I mean,
to be.
because the kids are going to say, Shaq,
Well, they're
what-
already
Shaq
doing.
wasn't-
They're already doing it with Zion and Charles Barkley.
Well, like
No,
Greg-
there's going to be a lot of LeBron fans in about 10 years, Phillip. They're going to hate all the Zion people.
well, it's-
Because
well, then
it's going to change
just like
every
this.
10 years.
Like I
Again.
had a kid the other day tell me, he's like, Vince Carter ain't crap, coach. And I'm like, I was like, why? I was like, tell me why. Like,
Yeah.
give me your defense.
and it's probably just what
like,
he's seen now.
He's just kind of old and he don't move well. I
Well,
said,
'cause
you know
he
how
didn't
long
play
he's
at
been in
one
the
point.
I said, so Derek Jeter, he's terrible. Like, that's what you're saying. Derek Jeter's worst shortstop ever played because all the shortstops you have now in today's baseball,
Right.
all that you know, Derek Jeter can't be crap, right? And I was like, and I waited for the response. And I was like, no, Jeter's the GOAT. And I'm like, okay. I was like, so Tom Brady's the GOAT, right? And they were like, yeah, he's pretty good. I was like, so when such and such comes out, I said, Trevor Lawrence, for instance, Trevor Lawrence
Right.
and Tebow conversation. Trevor Lawrence hadn't lost but one game in his college career. How many games did Tim Tebow? I said, so who's better? And then you get the crickets. And it's like, well, Trevor Lawrence, look at what Clemson's done. I'm like,
Tim Tebow's got two national
I was like, it's better
championships.
than Tebow. I said, so SEC versus ACC, which one's a better conference? The kids are like, SEC. I say, then how's Trevor Lawrence better
I agree.
than Tebow?
Now,
And so, like the kids,
I think Trevor Lawrence is kind of overhyped. That's
I'm just
me.
saying, but like when you think in the theory of sport, you're like, man,
It's hard to argue with someone who's never seen something. And I don't understand why.
See, I didn't
we
see
don't-
Michael
we
play.
actually
I
don't
just
listen.
go off statistics.
I'm just glad we don't actually listen to our elders and who or people who've actually anytime if Phillip, have you seen, I don't know, a line? Yeah, well, and you haven't.
Mm-hmm.
I will listen to your opinion about which is more dangerous, a lion or a kitty cat.
exactly.
Hunter might know, but this guy definitely knows.
Right.
And that's what aggravates people about some of the Michael and LeBron
See,
stuff. 'cause
I
you can
didn't
argue.
see. I didn't see Michael, but we have YouTube. We have Hardwood Classics. You can watch it. You can see the
But how
killer
much are
instinct
these
that's there.
like your common new like your new fans today? How many of them are real fans?
No, they're not.
I mean, you don't have those diehard. You don't have like, Kevin always
Team-
jokes, but
team
you
diehards.
don't have that Cleveland
Right.
Brown fan that's been a Cleveland Brown fan since birth in 1973.
Oh, they like Baker
that has
now.
rode with the Browns through the mud.
They pull for the players now because they move around. All right, let me give you my LeBron Michael argument. You can make this without ever mentioning the NBA.
Okay.
Ready? Which one's got a college national championship? Which one was college?
Michael as
which,
a freshman.
Which one was college player of the year?
Michael.
Which one has more gold medals?
Michael.
Which one has a bronze medal?
LeBron.
LeBron shamed America back in 2004 by losing the gold medal to the Argentinians.
Yeah.
This country has never not won the gold medal with professional athletes. Ever. We only not won it once, and that was in '88. And we got rid of all the kids and brought in, guess who? Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Now, with that said, so there's you two things. We've talked Olympics and we've talked college. We still ain't talked NBA. Now, the most important one is Space Jam theory, Phillip. You've seen Space Jam, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So what happens in Space Jam? Michael Jordan has to play a basketball game to save all humans from being slaves,
Yeah.
right?
True.
And the reason we sent Michael was because he was the greatest.
Yeah.
He had never lost.
Muggsy Bogues lost his. I mean, look at all the players, the studs of the time that
Right.
lost all their powers.
his.
And
Patrick Ewing
so
wasn't he in
we
it?
sent Michael to save Earth.
Yeah.
Space Jam 2, we're supposed to be sending LeBron to save Earth. This dude's 3-6. We're in trouble, Phillip. This is all what this is now. This is Space Jam.
Who's on his support cast? That's my question.
I'm
What
just
is- what is
saying.
Michael needed Bugs,
I know.
Daffy, Lola, and Porky, and
Oh, and don't
save
feel Bill Murray.
And,
We had to
and-
get
yeah,
Bill
we had
Murray
Bill
in
Murray and
there.
save the human race. And we're sending out the dude who's 3-6. Why are we not sending out Kevin Durant?
Yeah.
And Steph
Because he has
and
coronavirus.
Steph Curry. Well, I guess he does.
And Steph Curry, you know, he's injured, so
That's what I'm saying.
Speaking
Why
of-
aren't we sending people who haven't
Speaking of, did you
lost
see what
more
was
than
it?
they've actually won?
Four Lakers also tested positive for it.
Yeah.
It was
it's the group showers, man. That's what gets you.
That's exactly what it is.
But
man,
the group
look,
E's, maybe not the group.
like you know, to me, with Michael, and obviously I didn't get to grow up watching Michael, and I've grown up watching LeBron.
The
and
only
and
defensive
I
player
can
of the year
admit-
guard in 40 years.
I was about to say, and look,
There's another one.
people don't
LeBron ain't
like
never been
people don't
defensive
like
player of the year.
statistics, but sometimes they don't lie. And I'm looking at a 10-time scoring champion.
Yeah.
The all-time leading score. Think about this, Hunter. The all-time leading score per game, and he did not shoot 3-pointers at
No,
a
see,
guard.
that's-
As a
Yeah.
guard,
See, that's one of the
and he
main
did not.
arguments that I
He
make.
averages more than anyone has ever averaged in a basketball game, and he
And
didn't
it
shoot
wasn't the-
threes. And
Yeah.
let me finish. Who was it against? If he got by his defender, who was hand checking, well, there are 7-footers in the lane waiting to block shots. Today, if you get by the guard who's not hand checking you, is there anyone in the
No, they'll
lane
clear
to
the lane
block
for you.
shots?
No,
Or better yet, there's no Euro step. There's
What
no
would
touch.
his average have been with a Euro step
What
and
the Euro
no
step?
touching?
What about the touch fouls?
Can't touch
or
him.
flopping? Like it. But
like
it
I
would've-
just look,
but it
three
would've broke my heart
times.
if he'd have
He's a
flopped.
3-time steal champion. Okay,
What about his assist? I mean, he
LeBron was
he
never
shared
a
the
Five a
wealth.
game.
I mean,
he averaged 5 a game.
but I mean, that's sharing the wealth because really and truly, he could have easily just went for 80 a night.
Okay, so that's the deal. So what happened?
LeBron 6-time All Defense to Michael's 9-time All Defense. People wanted to say all the time LeBron would play offense and then come down and guard the best player when he was younger. Well, obviously he didn't do it enough because he's only a 6-time defensive player, and that we all know good and well they don't play defense today like they did in the
No,
90s.
they only play that when it's April, when it's time for the
when it's
the
when it's
finals.
pro
yeah,
time.
like they'll
yeah.
play.
They're
they'll play
they're
in the end.
buddy. Everybody's
Yeah.
buddy now. Michael Jordan go out on
Scotty
the court,
would
he
guard.
hates you.
Scotty would guard the main ball handler.
Yeah.
And then Mike would guard the best scorer is how they would do that. But
And then
Most points-
Rodman and Kerr would sit down in the post and bang, and then what?
I mean, I got a 3 times final MVP to he's 6-0 and was the finals MVP every time. and I want people to remember this. This is one of the arguments I've made too. I had to make sure I threw this blip into it because I know I'm not doing an individual comparative paper. It's just the leagues as a whole in the 90s and the 2010s. But I had to bring up that everybody likes to compare eras, especially when it comes to Jordan and LeBron.
Yeah.
I want people to remember Michael Jordan retired twice now in his prime.
Yeah.
He retired twice.
The counting stats with Michael are tough because he didn't because he did retire.
He retired
And
twice.
When he
So-
came
so
back,
that's-
Jordan 45.
so when
he
you said
came
someone-
back that time, it was
So when people use the argument of the more points than Michael, be like this. Well,
I agree.
Say, well, guys, guess what? Karl Malone's got more points than Michael too, and he don't have a single ring. He played at the same time Michael.
That's
He
the
got
thing.
beat twice by Michael. So you
Like-
can count all your points all you want.
Like accumulative points just comes about who's going to play the longest. Eventually, if
For
you
the most
play
part.
20 years, I expect
Kareem
you
played
to
about
have
20,
everything.
24 years or something.
LeBron's
like
in
that, I
year
think.
17. Michael, if I'm not mistaken, only played 15 years.
okay. But you tied
For
in
the
this,
most, yeah.
like if Derek Jeter came back to baseball today,
Right.
would he be pinnacle, top leading, or would it take him time? I mean, they said when Michael Jordan would just be bored at work, counting his money, hanging out in his thing, he would go in there with the Hornets, the modern age Hornets, like just a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah.
and run inter squad with them, and those guys would have quotes about it. He is a dog. He is still the GOAT. He is still. I mean, when Kimba's sitting there and he is like the franchise face of everything for the Hornets at the time, and he's like, I don't want any of that. Like he's still like when you have your prime player in your organization saying, yeah, that's the guy. He could come
it's
back
just
today
tough,
and help
man,
us.
because people forget he retired twice. He won 3 straight, retired for a season, came back and won another 3 straight.
it.
Could you imagine we'd be sitting here talking 7, maybe 8 in a row if he doesn't retire?
How many times did LeBron win 3 in a row?
LeBron's never won 3 in a row.
All right.
Probably won't.
Did he win 2 in a row?
He did
they
win 2
win
in a row.
two?
They
All
were
right.
going for the
Heatles
three-peat
won 2
with
in
the
a row?
with the Heatles.
All right, Phillip, let's talk football.
Great.
NFL, free agency. But here's the question I want that is burning on my mind this morning.
All right.
What you doing? Yeah, lock door. All right, thank you. The question that's burning my mind this morning. Hunter,
Yes.
You're
I
a
don't
big-
need stats for
you're a-
this next segment.
You're a big XFL fan.
I do like the XFL. I think it's. I have no problem with more football. I
Next
have no problem
year-
with it.
Will the XFL have for their quarterbacks Jameis Winston, Cam Newton, Josh Rosen, Joe Flacco, Colin Kaepernick, Tim Tebow, Jacoby Brissett? Like, they're running out of places to start.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a draft coming up. Where is Jameis and Phillip? Where do you think the best fit for Cam Newton's going to be? And he's about to be released. Nobody
They can't find a trade partner.
trade for him. Now Hunter's a Redskins fan, so Wednesday all we did was tell him that he's going to be Dwayne Haskins' new
It's not gonna
coach. He's going to show him how to do how to do a selfie right. He's going to show him how to do the wave
Or do the cool
during
little
practice.
the cool little language typing on Instagram.
Does that not give
He's going
you
to
a
show you
headache?
guys how to do the stanky
I
leg.
Dude,
read,
I-
read
I-
one thing and I get a headache.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
can't.
okay,
I look
think
at
you've
it-
chosen one
And I'm like,
for your
what?
language.
Oh,
you
and
know,
the fact that he named
so-
his son Chosen.
so-
and I don't go for the kids, but the fact he named his son Chosen, I'm like,
but all these pro teams are genius. They're not jumping on this trade partner because really, you don't really want to give the Panthers anything.
They don't have to.
They're going to get him
so
for
you're
cheap.
going to wait, and then he's going to be willing to sign. What I think is going to happen,
I have two teams that I said
who you got
Wednesday.
going to?
that now originally
I pray he's not going to Dallas. Everybody's like, "Oh, Dallas!"
No,
I'm like,
no,
God,
no.
if he goes there, I'll cry.
It would fit
I'll
though
cry.
for a backup with Dak, but I'll say this: originally one of my two teams was the Chargers until they came out and said that they were going to commit to Tyrod because I know they need to sell tickets.
Yeah.
And they didn't have anybody, and I didn't know if they were sold on drafting one. Well, this officially says you're going to draft one and just have him be behind Tyrod.
They got to find a running back.
So to
because
me,
not
they're
set.
not
gonna
re-signing
sign-
Gordon.
Yeah.
And they missed out on getting Todd Gurley on the cheap for a year rental because now he's in Atlanta, which I want to touch on in a little bit. So for Cam, to me, my two ideal spots, the first one is Denver. If they're not sold on Drew Lock, John Elway is 100% fine with signing a veteran, even if it's for a year because they just released Joe Flacco.
Right.
That's one. You could put him out there with Von Miller. There's essentially the number 1 and 2 picks from that same draft. And then the second one is until they came out yesterday and said this team is trying to almost combine a trade package to get the number 1 pick. Miami has spent a lot of money in free agency to bolster up their defense. I wouldn't be surprised if Miami's like, you know what? The AFC East is wide open right now. Why don't we get a veteran who can at least play and control the game? We're not going to go out here and just win with a
And
rookie.
he fits the culture.
He fits Miami culture.
He'll fit all of those pieces.
Yes.
And that's a program that needs a revitalization because
Yes.
Miami now is mouthwatering because Tom Brady's gone.
That's exactly what I mean. That's what I mean.
That's
It's
what I'm
like,
saying. Like,
it's them, the Bills,
I
on the
actually was
third-year
hoping
guy,
he
and
went
Josh
there.
Allen.
where it's in Miami.
I was actually hoping he went to Miami.
I thought
I
thought all the Southern Florida teams were in the run for
I
Teddy, and then
missed-
Teddy came to Carolina.
I think those are the best uniforms in Jersey. I love those. The Dolphins, the Dan Marino Dolphins jerseys. I want to see Brady because the AFC East, he sit there and won that league for how many years? The Bills never replaced Jim Kelly. The Dolphins never
They're
replaced
trying.
Dan Marino,
I believe in Josh Allen.
and the Jets never replaced Joe Namath.
Right.
It's been in 47.
And now here's the question: will the Patriots ever replace Tom Brady? No.
The Jets have made a couple of AFC Championship games with some
Mark Sanchez.
mediocre quarterback, Chad Pennington as well.
The what is it, Mike and Mike in the morning? They were talking about. They think that
I just want to see
they
Brady in
think
the
that- they
Dolphins
think the
uniform play the
Patriots
AFCs.
Yeah.
are like low key plan to try to get Lawrence from Clemson.
I saw the same exact thing. The
And I
tweet
was like, well, okay.
it's
Well,
all
that's
fun
deep.
and games until the Patriots tank for Lawrence. I'm like,
my thing about this the whole time is we bring it up every time.
this
so
could
when
be
we
a
talk
lost
about-
season for him. You just lost
Let-
arguably the
let's-
greatest quarterback of all
let's
time.
wait
It's
on-
okay.
Let's wait on the Patriots' thoughts for just a second. I still want to get into Cam.
Cam and Jameis doesn't have a team.
From what Phillip's thinking about. So we did these yesterday. We took team when the show started. We had 7 teams.
Okay.
And during the show,
Mm-hmm.
they started dropping like flies.
Okay.
Jacksonville traded Foles, announced Minshew as their starter. Chargers said they're out on Cam, and they're gonna start with Tyrod Taylor. And the Bears traded for Nick Foles from Jacksonville. So that left us with New England,
Okay.
Miami, Denver, and Washington are our only spots that we have.
I think you take. I
Here,
think you
wait a minute, let me
take
give
the
you
Patriots
Let
off
me
of that.
let me give you the opening quarterback, the quarterbacks that are available. Flacco, Brissett, Cam, Andy Dalton, and Jameis.
Andy Dalton is still you have to trade for him unless they
Right.
release him.
Right.
Cam's not going to fit Kraft. That's
So-
not going to be a fit. I don't think.
Will Jameis fit Kraft?
No. Jameis is the one that needs to be worried XFL.
Well, obviously it's not Kraft, because if it was up to Kraft, Brady would be there.
Right,
It's
but I'm just
Belichick.
talking about like them, everybody coming in.
Right.
And they
Cam's
did
too much.
take a shot on
Has it-
Antonio Brown.
listen,
I'm not putting
Has
anything
it
past the Patriots.
Has it
now.
been too long, Hunter, for them? If they were bringing in Brissett, they would have already done it.
Who are you talking about? The Patriots.
Patriots. Probably because they've already had him there before. They know him. I'm
Which
thinking.
one fits Belichick's style?
Well, what I'm saying is that
Andy.
I think if they hadn't brought the Andy Dalton's the only one left, or Flacco.
Yeah, because
And if they want to go, if they're trying to win this year, or is that what he's trying to do?
unless you try to make Cam a pocket passer, which that takes away his part of his game.
Because I was about
That's
to
not
say,
gonna-
it's
they-
only
like,
it's
they
not
don't
even
have
what
a-
fits Belichick. It's what fits McDaniels.
Mm-hmm.
Josh McDaniels is still the offensive coordinator there, so it's his offense, and the pocket passer that he's had obviously is going to be the hardest one to replace, maybe
we're
ever.
gonna do our figuring here. We're gonna
Because they're not in
a
a Indianapolis position where okay, we're losing Peyton Manning this offseason. Well, technically they are, because they had that whole off the next season where they had no Peyton Manning due to the neck injury
Right.
before he went and got surgery. So they figured, okay, we're gonna have a terrible season. We're gonna move off Peyton. The draft is coming up. We'll just get Andrew Luck.
Right.
Technically, the New England Patriots are in a similar position. Tom Brady left. That's on him. We know we're going to struggle with Jarrett Stidham in there if we just go with him. We could get Trevor Lawrence.
Take your lumps.
Take
to
your
do that.
lumps.
Because like on the back end,
The Colts
To
only
me-
had
to
that
me-
one
to me,
bad
it-
season.
Cam is going to be better suited in Miami or San Diego.
I
or
agree.
Los Angeles. Or
Now
I
they've already
agree.
said they're out. They're starting Tyrod Taylor. The Chargers said
Chargers.
yesterday that they're out. So which means they're sitting at the 6th pick. I think
Sixth,
I
yeah.
think that they're looking at these young quarterbacks as well. I think they're going Tyrod. And what about the?
They're either going to go, more than likely to me, they're going to go either Herbert or Love
That's
out
what
of
I
Utah
think.
State.
Love.
But if you think about their money, though, like I'm just saying is if Cam goes for a decent price,
Oh, I think a team
I
right
think he would
now.
fit great in LA because of the stardom and everything. The question is, can he run? He might not even be able to run.
Well, to me, I think Cam, any team
We
can
got-
get exactly what the Panthers just got for Bridgewater on Cam, because he's going to be
All right,
desperate
let's do
to
it.
sign
Let's
somewhere.
do it team by team.
You can get him for 3
I
years,
already-
$20
I
million.
already see the one that I'm going to take on your list.
Let's
It's
do
the
it.
second from the bottom.
Let's-
That fits because it fits a lot of the
What,
dynamic.
Washington?
It fits their dynamic of what quarterback they like. It does.
You don't want it.
Here's the
you sip-
problem.
you sip that RG3 Kool-Aid.
It's not
everybody- that's their style.
because
That's what
it's
they want.
not, and this is not just because I don't want him in Washington. It's because, in all seriousness, I think Rivera's happy he's off of Cam. I do. I seriously think Rivera is like, okay, clean slate. I don't have to deal with this head case down here in Washington. I could see them signing Jameis before I see them
But see,
signing Cam.
I think Jameis. I think he goes south. I think he's Miami.
I got
could
Dalton
see-
in New England, Jameis in Miami, and Cam in Washington right now.
Yeah.
But what about Brissett?
Jacoby
listen,
Brissett's going to be back to a backup.
They-
That's what
it's-
he is.
They're saying,
he was
they're
a
saying
stopgap.
Jameis could be back up to Haskins.
Look, I'm fine with it.
Are you
If-
gonna, you're going to
here.
bench a guy who threw for 5,000 yards and 30 touchdowns last year?
I mean, if you're confident in Haskins making the progression that he has over towards the end of the season when he actually got true first team reps, and then the work he puts in this offseason, to me, if you want to bring in Jameis Winston just to be kind of like lighter fluid, to light
Now-
the fire underneath him when it comes training camp time and OTAs, just, make it a true quarterback competition, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that because I truly believe Dwayne can beat out Jameis, because to me, it might be a bad comp. Some people would call it a bad comp, but I could see Dwayne being a not as turnover heavy Jameis.
Can he see? Yeah. Does he have that? That was the. I think that's the biggest thing. Well, his
'cause-
decision making is going to be. I think the site
And it
will
has
help.
nothing to do, with them being obviously black quarterbacks. It's just Jameis is not that athletic. Dwayne is not that athletic. He's not the run first quarterback. He's a pocket quarterback just like Jameis is. The problem with Dwayne right now early, but he was scout team for a while, was the fact that his decision making. I think that's been the knock on Jameis since he's come in, is his decision making. So I see similarities between Dwayne and Jameis, Just Dwayne is still young enough. If you can get to him early, you can make him not have such poor judgment like Jameis. I think Jameis has just been in the league for too long. His habits are his habits. It's just now he can see. Okay.
Well, here I found this online. Like the top 3 writers for ESPN, they all go with the Patriots.
Jameis.
They said Jameis is the Patriots. They said it's a good way to punctuate that, to do an ultimate. They're talking about ultimate quarterback swap.
People can't forget now.
But
he did throw. Look, take interceptions away. He was the passing king last year. 5,000 yards, 30 touchdowns.
All right, here's something to think about in this, though. Washington has the 2nd pick, Miami with the 5th pick. Would they rather either one of them pick a younger quarterback as opposed to Jameis and Cam, who obviously present their own problems? I think Andy Dalton is going to fit New England if that's what he wants. If he wants Trevor Lawrence, that means he's going to have to.
If he
just
wants
go
Trevor
with
Lawrence,
the guy he's got this year.
Stidham. He's going to have to just roll with
But
Jarrett Stidham.
Belichick, whether he wants Lawrence or not, is he going to coach a team on purpose to go 3-13? That's the thing. That don't make any sense to me with that. They would have to just give up a ton of picks to move up to get him.
I'm telling you, I've been saying this.
I think Lawrence ends up in Miami next year.
Justin Fields is not going to let Trevor Lawrence have that number 1 pick. He's just not. He's just not going to give it to him. Justin Fields is going to go out there and compete just as hard as Trevor Lawrence is to be the number 1 overall pick. They're both quarterbacks. Teams are going to need. They value the quarterback so much. So even if they don't get the 1 through 3 number 1 pick, there's no guarantee Trevor Lawrence is the consensus number 1 pick.
All right. Well, what about this? Just throwing this out there because we've not mentioned it. You got some quarterbacks that are on their last leg. Backup role wise, could you see Winston going? Like what a lot of people are talking about with the Steelers.
I saw that.
Could you see him sitting?
If he was smart, that is a great fit. Because I think Mike Tomlin would tell him not to be an idiot.
Yeah.
Stand here and watch Big Ben. This is how you do it.
And if he's liable to get hurt. And if he gets hurt,
the question is, dude, is Ben even going to be 100% going into next season? They say his elbow injury was a little bit more serious.
The only reason why I bring that up is look at the path that Teddy Bridgewater took.
Oh, yeah.
And look where it's landed him now. I mean, he's going to walk in. Now, granted, he's not walking into.
It's not an ideal situation.
No, the pantry's not full at Carolina right now, by no means. I mean, you've lost tight end. You release
defensive players.
You've lost your whole linebacking staff. You're running back. You've got rid of a good backup. I mean, you got Christian McCaffrey. He's about what you've got.
That's it.
I mean, that's it.
And they're going to run him in the dirt.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, what sucks is if you're sitting there as Christian and you're like, yeah, I'm fixing to be the prize child of the Panthers, but I'm also knowing now the longevity of my career is at stake because they could tank all these seasons, but they're going to give me 40, 50 carries. I mean, I'm going to get the ball whether I'm carrying it or catching it.
Oh, regardless.
He'll probably be he's going to hold out and he'll have to be franchised at some point if they're going to keep him. Or they're going to have to just move on.
Well, the Panthers are now in a predicament that the Titans are in. The Titans saw what they have and how great Derrick Henry was. But it's all coming back to what the Rams just did with Todd Gurley. The Rams paid Todd Gurley all this money. The Cowboys just paid Ezekiel all this money after his holdout.
The good thing,
and then the Rams, 2 years after they made the deal, end up releasing Todd because they realized they paid him too much.
The good thing for the
really
Panthers, Hunter, is that they aren't paying anyone else though.
No, they're not paying anyone else.
He can be the only player. They give him They give him $60 million this year if they want.
Absolutely. If you want to pay Christian McCaffrey, then go right ahead. I'll tell you this.
In fact, it might be smart because Jerry Jones does this sometimes. Hunter, if they can get him to an extension this year, give him a 3-4 year extension and put all the money up front. I saw one of the quarterbacks. Somebody was taking like $60 more million in dead money this year. His set just because they moved your signing bonus up a year and take a year off. So what they could do, they could honestly pay McCaffrey this year $35 million, and then the next 2 years like $5 million.
Oh, I know, and see, and I'll say this, and people,
and then he gets his money that way.
People know I'm a Georgia fan, obviously for football, so I love Todd Gurley, and I'll say it.
He just signed with the Falcons.
If Todd Gurley didn't have knee problems, I know he's with the Falcons, but if Todd Gurley doesn't have knee problems, to me, Todd Gurley's still, if not the best, the second best running back in football.
So let me ask you this. Just because of that signing, does that make the Falcons the #1 team in their division now?
No, I still have them fighting for second.
I mean, with their receiving core,
That's a great
now
division.
the running back. Now
The defense
you
is
gave
still
Matt
a problem.
Ryan another. I mean, yeah, but
And here's the problem I have
they're
as well.
transition to be Arizona. I mean,
But
they're
here's the-
fixing to be an offensive.
Oh,
They may not be able to stop nobody, but they're going to be like an Oregon
But
type team in the
this is the
NFL
question
now.
I have
That's a
about
fun
the Falcons.
division.
This is the question that I have about the Falcons because
Besides the Panthers.
they have not been able to figure out the offensive coordinator position since Kyle Shanahan has left. Because even Devontae Freeman is not Todd Gurley. I understand that. But you've had this receiving core there put together and just got better last year for the past 2 years, and you haven't been able to
Here's
score in the
thing,
red
though.
zone.
You've got the draft coming up. Now, with everything you have offensively,
Big
could you
Ben
not-
says he's throwing without pain and he feels younger. There's your report from Big Ben today.
Could you? I mean, honestly, think about this. Could you not sell out your draft, all defense?
You'd have
and,
to.
and if you do that, in
You let
Atlanta-
Vic Beasley walk.
But I'm saying you sell out in this draft.
I say
and
that
take-
every year. Teams should do that all the time. 7 straight defensive picks. The next year, 4 linemen and 3 and some other picks.
That's it. Just sell out this
and
year.
then 2 years in a
Atlanta.
row, you've got new starters across the board.
Look, I would, if you want to save face, the years you have left
The
with
Panthers
Matt
should
Ryan,
use all, Panthers
yes.
should use all pick on defense this year.
Yeah.
They were 31st last year in scoring.
Picks and
I'm
then,
just
and then
saying.
receivers.
I'm just saying, if-
receivers and freaking linebackers.
It's just going to be tough
secondary.
because I know what I'm getting with Bruce Arians as a head coach, and now he's got the quarterback that he wants with those offensive weapons. Those offensive weapons, besides the running back, might be just as good than the Falcons. And then, you know,
But the Falcons are literally like a replica of the Cardinals. I mean,
I know they
offensively,
are.
they're. I mean, because like to me, that's another team people need to really pay attention to.
well,
That is- that
especially
is-
since
that
getting
is the
DeAndre
new, like,
Hopkins.
so that's the new NFL Oklahoma. We're going to score. We're going to throw the ball around the yard. We're going to get a bunch of points, but we ain't
Those
going to
Patriots
stop
played that
The
way
NF
one year. Just outscore
The
everybody. 'cause we can't stop
NFC East
anybody.
and Souths are going to be extremely entertaining. The North, if Rodgers is healthy, they win again. He has every year of his career.
Yeah.
He's healthy.
I'm
And
just-
over
to
here,
me, it's just I don't
I
don't trust the
East,
coaching staff enough in Atlanta. Just what I've seen off the past 2 years with the weapons that they have had, than I do a Bruce Arians who has, as technically, you know, because they did better last year, his first year
Yeah.
with Tampa Bay than they've done before. So everywhere he's went, he's at least changed the culture. Going from, you know, he took over in interim in Indianapolis. He's had great quarterbacks there. He had Carson Palmer, obviously with Arizona.
What about
they had
Brissett in
success
Washington?
there. Look, everybody that you throw at me that's a quarterback, to me, is going to be a backup because I'm not to me as a fan, I'm not watching that first round 15th pick be wasted.
I totally
can't do it.
No, I totally agree
So
with that
everybody,
about
like,
wasting the pick.
Cam, Jameis, Brissett.
I'm just trying to
I
find a
don't
place
care.
for
Josh
these guys.
Rosen.
Are they going to the XFL?
If, I don't care. To me, if they come to Washington, they're a backup.
Don't come. You better be.
They're a
If you
backup.
come to Washington, you're a DC defender and not a
Look,
Redskin.
if you come to Washington, you're a backup. If he's not the guy, if Haskins is not the guy through maybe the first 2 or 3 weeks, make the move. I don't care,
Yeah.
but I have to see what I have in this young quarterback.
I agree.
I have to see it. Arizona was the outlier. They got lucky that Kyler Murray panned out because if he didn't pan out, they were going to look real stupid wasting those kind of picks back-to-back years.
what about?
Technically, Kyler Murray didn't even deserve to win Offensive Player of the Year because he had worse numbers than Gardner Minshew did. He just played a full season. Gardner Minshew had better quarterback numbers.
Phillip, who's the best team in the NFC East? Your Cowboys, Philly, or Hunter's Redskins?
Honestly, right now, I
They just picked up
I-
Darius Slay
I like-
for
I like-
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia picked up
As
Slay.
sad as it sounds like, I like the Giants.
the one team I didn't mention.
I
Huh?
like the Giants.
They've made some pretty
Hey,
good
what about the
moves.
Giants
They've done good
bringing
moves.
in Cam?
Dallas brought in HaHa Clinton Dix, too. Didn't know if you saw
Well,
that.
that's Giants bringing in Cam Newton. Gettleman's there.
They just signed Colt McCoy to be back up.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Maybe they like Jones.
I'm telling you, I think they
wouldn't.
like
I wouldn't
Jones.
trust a Duke quarterback as far as I could throw him, but you know,
Hey,
to each
look.
his own.
Hey, let me tell you something. David Cutcliffe's got his fingerprints all over him, so.
He's got to be better than Ohio State quarterback, I guess. I would take a Duke quarterback over an
Okay.
Ohio State quarterback.
Yeah, because he actually went to class and learned, got a degree.
Right. Yeah.
I would guess so.
I
I give
think so.
I give Tom
Graduated
hell all the
honors.
time. I give Tom hell all the time. Like you guys have had some great players at Ohio State, but your
Yeah, I mean,
quarterbacks have been
my
hot
goodness.
garbage.
Look at the guy that took him to a ring, and he's now a XFL
Cardale.
superstar. I mean,
Cardale. He
Cardale's out
got
there.
benched. in the final game they
I
played.
don't-
Is
they
Cam
got
going to be in the
benched.
XFL, y'all?
No, he'll be in the NFL.
No.
With
They're
who?
Not, they're not.
With who?
Somebody-
We can sit
somebody's
here and
gonna
say
sign
with
him.
who, but to be honest, to
That's
me,
what
it's
Colin
only
Coward said yesterday. There's no market for Cam Newton.
No.
He said there's none. That's what Coward
There's too
said.
many. There's too many what ifs with his game right now.
Right.
Oh, I was going to say what's hurting
And
Cam
the
is
sad
his
thing
injury. What's hurting Cam is
because
the
look
injury.
at Big Ben. Ben's good and solid, and because he's the staple of Pittsburgh, he's won championships. Cam wins that championship against Denver.
He's got suitors.
He's got a different situation. I tried to tell everybody. There was a time I remember it wasn't long ago. We sat in here, and I sat in this position, and we were all sitting, and there was two special guests here. That's a big time Cam Newton fan. Head football coach. He knew he loves Cam Newton.
Oh,
and
man.
you and him got into a huge debate over, and then we were talking about rookie of the year, quarterback of the year, blah 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 blah. And all I kept saying was, those stats are good, but the team's not winning.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day,
I'm glad you brought that up. I got a question
those
for you
stats
about
for
that.
Cam Newton, they're not going to pay the bills now.
Right.
No.
Because you want a proven winner. I would rather have a less stat guy than have a big stat guy and no Super Bowl
Tampa Bay
championship.
just proved it.
All right.
Tampa Bay went out and got a
Look at
40,
here.
a 43.
He pulled out the notes on
Well,
it.
I got it somewhere.
I'm just saying though. Think about it. Tampa Bay went out and got a 43-year-old quarterback
Instead of the guy who passed for 5,000
Yeah.
yards and
There
30
you go.
touchdowns
Yeah.
on his own team.
Exactly. They went and got it. You know why? Because he wins.
That's it.
He
Well,
wins.
Okay, let's talk about the winning thing
And
for,
he's the
for
GOAT,
a second.
but he
Phillip.
wins.
Okay.
All right, so Cam, so when you talk with Cam fans, defenders, or lovers, what they will say is that like when I'll bring up his passing stats, and they'll be like, "Well, you can't talk about that. You have to talk about his running too." I'm like, okay, but every time a quarterback runs, you're a football coach, right?
Yeah.
Does that not mean the running back isn't running?
Yes.
Does that usually mean it's not a designed play for the quarterback to run? Most of the quarterback runs NFL.
Most, yeah. It's just
Okay.
it's pocket breakdown.
So we're looking at that.
The
Um,
RPOs changed the game a little bit,
Right.
having that option. But
Now, with
back
that,
when all this happened,
with that said, if you're making the argument that you have to include his running in your argument of comparing him to other quarterbacks,
Right.
doesn't that mean that you're also making the argument that running equates to winning? Because you're not going to argue if every other quarterback on that board, we don't bring up running except for a couple people.
right.
So if you're bringing that up, does that not mean that
You're trying
running
to
is
equate
supposed
it
to
to a
help your
win.
team to
Yeah.
win?
Right.
That running helps your team to win better than the passing does.
Yes.
That's what I get from it.
Right.
With that said, in the same exact draft, Andy Dalton picked in the second round. Cam is 68, 55, and 1. Andy Dalton is 70, 61, and 2. He has two more wins than Cam.
Okay.
Winning seasons, 10 or more winning seasons, above 500, right? That's all it is.
Yep.
Andy has 5 seasons above 500. Cam has 3.
Right.
In that draft, who was picked second overall in the draft behind Cam Newton was Von Miller.
Yep.
He beat him in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Would the Panthers have not been better or the same this whole time if they had went Miller and Andy Dalton
Yeah.
instead of Cam Newton at number 1? Now,
Yeah.
all it did was get them, if you look back on it, he's gone. He got you a Super Bowl appearance, and the one thing Panthers fans never shut up about.
His MVP.
I didn't even have to say it.
MVP. And
When's the last time you heard someone say Matt Ryan MVP?
You don't.
Do you ever hear someone say Matt Ryan? He went
Until
after
you
Cam.
said that, I
you
forgot. I forgot.
We never mentioned
but
that.
Here's the other thing.
MVP.
Oh, he won
At the
MVP
time-
the
at
year
the
after.
time- At the time, I would like to take, and this is just me, I would like to take Jake Dale home and go.
I got his record.
And
too.
I would like to go him and Cam versus each other.
I got
You
it.
take a no-name
on.
Louisiana boy.
Yeah, he played at
versus-
Louisiana Tech.
I mean, yeah, like a no-name
Yeah.
guy. And he had more of a chance playing a better team at the time. I mean, who you think's a better team? The Vinatieri, Tom Brady. I mean,
Patriots.
That Patriots team
the
versus the
Broncos.
Peyton Manning, Von Miller Broncos.
Dude,
Who's
I
the
don't
better
know.
team
That
at the time?
defense was disgusting
I'm saying,
in
but
Denver.
at the time, because you forget you had Teddy Bruschi,
Oh, well,
and you had
you're right.
you know,
They were
you-
very
you-
good.
You were still loaded
you
with,
had a more complete team in New England than
Yeah.
the defensive
and
juggernaut
Carolina.
that was
Carolina team
Denver.
had a chance. They were in it to win it before the Hall of Famer Vinatieri kicked
Kicked
the
that field goal.
Yes.
They were full of steroids.
Carolina
too.
didn't even have a shot. Didn't even have a shot.
Panthers are
against
full
the
of
Broncos.
Panthers are full of steroids too. in that Super Bowl. Remember that? Sauerbrunn, he got suspended. Jake Delhomme had a better win percentage than Cam in Carolina. He won 56 and 40.
Tell me what he rushed. He didn't run at all.
With a 583 winning percentage, Cam with a 549. Now, so Jake Delhomme, they both lost the Super Bowl.
Yes.
And Delhomme had a better winning percentage than Cam.
Yeah. And Delhomme was not MVP.
No.
And look at the team that Delhomme had around him. Like if you look around him, like Ricky Prohl wasn't at the time a big name.
No.
Muhsin Muhammad. You had
you had Steve, but even then he wasn't what he was.
You had post Redskin Stephen Davis.
Right.
You had what was the other guy they had that ran? I mean, like that team.
You had you
did have a young Julius Peppers.
You had a young Julius Peppers, and you had a young Steve Smith.
Yes. That was it.
That was it.
And you had Jake Delhomme that's just ripping it.
So Pepper. So here's a
great halftime show too.
Here's some. Here's passing some comparisons between Steve Berline, Jake Delhomme, and Cam's MVP season. So I took Steve Berline's best season in Carolina, Delhomme's best season in Carolina, and Cam's best season in Carolina.
And it's just passing.
Yeah, just passing.
Because the other two don't run.
Steve Berline was 8-8. Now, my key to all this has always been defensive ranks. So Cam, in his 8 years, Phillip, he had 3 winning seasons. All 3 of those winning seasons were the only 3 seasons Ron Rivera had a top 10 defense. So is that we correlating there, right?
2 of those seasons, if I'm not mistaken, they had Sean McDermott as defensive coordinators, and one of those seasons he had Jack Del Rio, who is now my defensive coordinator.
So the only 3 winning seasons in Cam's career, his team had a overall top 10 defense. Cam's rookie year, he went 6-10. Now, Phillip, I'm just talking to rookie quarterbacks. One goes 6-10.
Yeah.
With the 19th best defense in the NFL. And the other rookie quarterback goes 6-7 with the 31st ranked defense. The first guy who had a worse record with the 19th ranked defense got 9 years or 8 years, and the second guy we're cutting after 13 games. Now, that's Kyle Allen for you folks that didn't know that. He's got a better win percentage than Cam did in his rookie year with a worse defense. That was the Panthers' 31st defense in Kyle Allen. Delhomme. All right, let's look at these numbers real quick. Passing stats. Cam's MVP season, he had 3,800 yards passing.
Okay.
Berline, when he went 8-8, had 4,400. Delhomme 7-9 had 3,800. 58%, 60%, 59%. 35 touchdowns, 36 touchdowns, 29 touchdowns. 10 interceptions, 15 and 15. The ratings were 95, 94, and 87. So all of those are pretty much the same numbers, except one of them had a top 10 defense, which was 6th. Cam's was 6th. They went 15-1. Berline went 8-8 with the 26th ranked defense, and Delhomme 7-9 with the 15th ranked defense. So you can look at all these every year, Phillip.
Well, you talked about Cam's rushing, so I looked up the stats between Super Bowl 38 and Super Bowl 50. 38's with obviously Delhomme, 50's with Cam. So Cam was 18 for 41 for 265 with 1 interception and a 55.4 quarterback rating. He rushed 6 times for 45 yards, 7.4 yards a carry with a long of 14. Delhomme was 16 for 33, 323 yards, 3 touchdowns with a 113.6 quarterback rating and no rushing attempts or rushing yards. Against a team that, if you look defensively at the starters, just counting, there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 potential Hall of Famers. Then you look at Super Bowl 50 starters, you've got...
There's probably 2.
2
definitely. DeMarcus Ware, and then you have Von Miller.
Yeah, so you got Ware, Miller.
Was Champ Bailey on that team?
And you've got...
No.
Then you've got... Well, you got Peyton Manning, so there's 3.
Well, that's offense, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying if you count everybody.
Oh, everybody.
If you count everybody that started, just starters in that game.
A lot of those guys probably, too, that were borderline are going to get nods because they won Super Bowl 50.
Exactly. I mean, so you sit there and look at it. I mean, now, mind you, Delhomme's a nobody quarterback throwing against Ty Law. Would you say that Ty Law is probably one of the premier quarterbacks in the game?
Yeah,
they put out Peyton Manning.
And then free safety is Rodney Harrison. Woo! Would you say that is a... I mean, and then your linebacker core, you got Bruschi, McGinst, you got Richard Seymour, defensive line rushing at you. I mean, so just in that, you look at it and you know that. You know, I like to see those memes, like what the haters going to say. I mean, they're going to say that the game's different, but what I'm trying to say is, if you look at that, Dale Holm took a team in there, and he should have never even got through the greatest show on turf. He should have never got through that game.
No,
that win was pinnacle in all of Carolina history. So if I was going to tell you this, let me just ask you this. This is my question to you.
Mm-hmm.
If you were going to sum up Cam's career in Carolina and give me his one pinnacle game that he just, like, that is our guy, what is his MVP game, or what's a game that jumps out in your mind that you can staple? Cam Newton needs a home because this performance in this game, he was the MVP quarterback.
Well, it's tough because my judgment is clouded by him not jumping on that fumble. I mean, he just didn't go for it.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like,
staring right at it.
If you sit there and you think about games, if you say that about Brady, you think of numerous games.
Well,
the comeback, the 28-3 deficit against the Falcons in the Super Bowl.
So you go and you pick out any quarterback you want to talk to, like in this list, like what is their come out?
Have you heard me give the stats on the quarterbacks playoff wins since Cam last won one?
Yes.
21 quarterbacks have won a playoff game since Cam last won a playoff game. It's been 5 years, folks, since Cam won a playoff game.
Colin made a great point on his show this week. He said, look, everybody was so hyped up on Cam for years because he could run. That's not special anymore.
No, it's not.
It's not. Lamar Jackson can run. Even some of the pocket passers that come out, they at least can move. Aaron Rodgers can move. You know, so it's not special.
But see, devil's advocate, like your Carolina Panther fans are going to be like, well, what targets did he have to throw at? Who did he have to hand the ball off to? And I'm going to tell you right now,
he's had great running backs.
When you hear that, it's like, okay, like honestly, when Carolina was a loaded deck 4 years ago.
D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart. I mean, who did you want? That was the 1-2 punch. That was a 1,000-yard rushing group.
Like in that time, they were saying the defense was suspect. Well, so you're telling me that
Thomas Davis, Luke
Thomas
Kuechly,
and Luke, and
Josh Norman. And
you had the first
Super Bowl year,
right? You had the first run with Captain Munderland, who you give away and bring back.
Yep.
You have all of these studs, and the problem I have with Carolina Panther fans is they have this hard opportunity to actually humble themselves and say, like, you're right.
He's not that great.
He's not that great. Like
He's good.
We sold the farm. Like
phenomenal athlete,
and it's a North Carolina anecdote. We sold the farm.
Cowards called him average quarterback.
I mean, we sold the farm and we put it in this Heisman national champion. We sold the farm on him.
Yep.
And
he underperformed.
And he didn't live the same. But his first 2 or 3 years, he got us MVP. He got Rookie of the Year. He was NFL Player of the Week multiple times. He sold a crap ton of tickets.
He did.
He sold a crap ton of jerseys, crap ton of T-shirts. He done things for the kids. He was everything that Carolina thought they needed to be successful.
Same thing they got with Kimball Walker.
It's
the same exact thing Charlotte got with Kimball Walker.
Well, their first 3 or 4
sold
seasons.
Tickets.
What did everybody say in his first 3 or 4 years with the Panthers? Oh, when he matures. God, when he matures into a veteran NFL quarterback, look at what's going to happen.
When he develops his throwing,
and it never happened.
When he works on his throwing, he's still high on his throws. Can he work on his accuracy?
I mean,
as he gets older and the running goes away from him, his throwing will start to pick up.
At this point, Carolina's made enough, and the fans in Carolina have made enough excuses.
Yeah,
that I think now it's kind of like, all right, well. They're going to see what happens. Like it's funny to me. I
want you to know this
because nobody wants him.
Teddy Bridgewater's going to win them ball games.
Yeah.
If they thought they were going to have a down season next year, I agree. You're probably going to finish last in the NFC South because everybody else is loaded now. But that's just tough. Even the Cardinals, for as good as they were, finished last in that loaded
He's going to get them in a better direction.
Let me tell you, the 2 or 3 games I thought they were going to win next year, just with Kyle Allen or them having an opportunity to just say, we're going to go with Will Grier. Just to see and just go for Trevor. I was like, now that Teddy Bridgewater's there, I tell everybody, I said, well, look, he's not going to lose you games. Cam could lose you games.
Yeah.
Because he'd throw interceptions. Same with Jameis. He can win you games. He can lose you games. Teddy, everything I've seen, winning record as a backup and a starter, every game he's played, he's not going to lose you games.
He's a smart sell.
So his overall record was 68-55-1. Take away 15-1 from that. What do you have? 53-54-1.
Yeah.
So
He's not even a 500 quarterback.
he's under 500 if you take away the 15-1 season. Now people are like, yeah, you can't take away his great season. Well, that's just if you did that to Brady, he would still have a winning record.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
People do
So-
that. It's the same thing. Look, you could do it with Matt Ryan.
Right.
You take away both their MVP seasons. That's it. And then that gives you the comp because that's when they're both at their highest.
Right.
Take them off, and then there you go. That's what you usually are.
All right, Phillip, do you know who Cam has beaten in the playoffs? His first win was over the great Ryan Lindley. Remember him?
Yeah.
Remember. So Cam's first win, he beat Ryan Lindley. Do you know how they even got there? They won the division at 7-8-1. So they shouldn't have even been there. He gets in the first round against Arizona, and they're playing their second string quarterback. Skelton played the week before, and Lindley was healthy, so he had to play the second string Arizona quarterback to get his first playoff win over the Arizona Cardinals. Now, his second playoff win was against the Arizona Cardinals again, Phillip. And in this game, he played against Carson Palmer. You know what Carson Palmer did in this game?
What's that?
4 interceptions. 4. Can you win NFL games throwing 4 picks?
Well, Jameis has tried to prove it.
Now, yeah,
I'll be honest, he's tried. He's tried.
So when you're talking about which game is Cam's game, so I look at the NFC Championship game, right? This is the one that got him to the Super Bowl. Before Cam ever threw a single pass, it was 14-0 Panthers.
Yeah.
They drove down the field in the first drive, and they didn't pass it on the first drive, and they scored a touchdown.
Right.
The next drive was a Luke Kuechly pick 6, making it 14-0. So winning the NFC Championship game, and Cam Newton so far to get to the Super Bowl, Carson Palmer threw 4 picks, and my team is up 14-0, and I have not thrown a single pass. That is how the Panthers made the Super Bowl. They only won that game by touchdown. Now, with that said, he made a fantastic throw to Olsen down the middle of the field near the end of that game. So when you think of one game, Phillip, I think of that game, making that pass down the middle of the field, and then also a game I was at, Luke Kuechly tackled Gronk in the end zone on a pass against the Patriots, and he wasn't touched.
Dude,
I mean, he was tackled before the ball ever got there,
saw-
and there was never a pass interference flag. Or
Obviously, we're still going on with our burning of Cam at the
anything.
stake right now.
I guess we were trying to find a place for
Well,
him.
look, I will say this: I've seen a bunch
Well,
of
we're gonna
Cam.
put him,
I've
XFL.
seen a bunch of Cam supporters come out and say, "Well, at the end of his career in Carolina, he was 2-0 against Tom Brady.
Yeah. I mean,
He was.
Well, here's the game.
He
You know,
was. He
I'm gonna-
was. He was."
I'm gonna. This ain't really.
So-
This is not to hurt. So
Tom Brady's also got like what 2 or 3 rings in between that.
when I asked you your
Yes.
your thing. So here was my game. I was waiting on you to return the favor and ask the question.
ahead.
So I'm just
Oh,
gonna tell
what
you
was
now.
it?
So the greatest game that
Okay,
Cam
gotcha,
Newton
gotcha.
played
I
in his
thought you were
career-
saying there were none.
No, here it is.
That's why I didn't
No,
ask back.
No, here's the one. This is the one that
Okay.
all the writers seem to think and tag in his favor. Was his big time debut as a full time, like, here's the offense in your hands. If you remember it, they're going in to play the Cardinals. It was a loss. His greatest game he ever played was a loss. Lost 28-21. He was 24 for 37. He had 110.4 quarterback rating, QBR 68.2. He threw for 422 yards, and he rushed 8 times for 18 yards with a touchdown. So,
But he didn't throw a touchdown.
He threw 2 touchdowns.
Threw 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns. He rushed for 1. So he accumulated. It was safe to say he was around 440 was his total yardage in the game. He threw 2 touchdowns to the guy that they said was his nemesis, and he didn't get along with Steve Smith.
Steve Smith.
He threw.
Well,
8
Steve
times.
said they traded him because Cam couldn't throw a slant.
Right.
That was his quote.
So eight receptions for 178 yards, 2 touchdowns is what the day went for.
He was nasty. I like Steve Smith.
Now, that in itself is what the professionals, this is what everybody, if they were going to say a staple of his career, which literally was game 1,
And he lost.
and he lost, was his greatest game, statistically. Greatest game. Biggest impact game. His debut straight out. There's videos, like if you go online and just type in Cam Newton, 2011, blah, 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 superhero, Superman, all of that mantra came out that week. If you'll remember, he said for 3 or 4 weeks, I think it was the first 4 weeks of the NFL season of his first debut, like his rookie season, he set more records, and they lost every game that he set the records. It was a me show.
Yeah, he has like what is arguably the greatest rookie season of a quarterback.
Greatest rookie season with the most losses, and then it was kind of like those conversations. Like, if you remember, he pouted a lot. He went in the media. And
that was when he started with that towel.
Gatorade. He did so much anti-team stuff because he was trying to do it by himself.
The biggest thing about all the team stuff with Cam or the teammate stuff, and Phillip, you've been in a football team. If he played wide receiver, nobody would give a rat's ass.
That's it.
It's the fact he's the quarterback. He's the leader. As a lineman, when you get in the huddle, you look to that guy, hey, this guy's going to lead us to win, victory. You know, and my question used to be during when they used to have the fan fest and the training camps we'd go to, well, Cam would throw a pass, and then he'd run over and start the wave or dance with some fans. So, my question, Phillip, if you're the backup quarterback, after you make your pass, how funny would it have been or silly would it have looked if every time Derek Anderson threw a pass during practice, he ran over and did what Cam did? So if you're I used to ask, if you're Will Greer, are you supposed to do what Cam does?
Yeah.
Are you supposed to do all that? And that's my thing with it, is that it's the quarterback. It's not the running back. It's not the wide receiver. It's the quarterback. He's the leader. And when you see Jameis out here eating W's and stealing crab legs and stuff, it's a leadership position. And when you're, and that's the thing I think that.
But
that
in the same token, I actually read a sports journal article about the uncomfortable feeling of being around Cam Newton. It was like talking about like when he scores touchdowns, like when he would score and take the ball. They were like, some of the team.
Wouldn't that make you mad?
They just wanted
if you
to
stole
score.
my football.
Well, it's just like they wanted to score, and there were some of his teammates that they would score and they would turn around and go back, and he would like jerk them. Like he wouldn't even say give, but it was like, hey, you've got to do my thing.
Right.
And
Emmett
like,
used
hey,
to put his footballs in the trunk. Like, you're not getting my football.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. What if Troy Aikman used to steal Emmett's footballs and spiked them after he scored?
Or took them and gave them to kids.
And gave them to someone else.
I mean, I get the thing. It was cool. It made kids want to come to the games, and it was good for people.
Those aren't poor kids
I'm
sitting
going
on the
to
front
say,
row.
I'm going to say this 100%.
Those aren't orphans.
Cam is an entertainer.
Yeah,
he
exactly.
can
He is.
entertain
You're
the
right.
crowd 100%. He can entertain the crowd. That's why, to me, I thought
Hunter, you
LA
gotta
was
go.
going to make the run for it. Yeah, I need to leave here in a little bit.
All right, Phillip, I want to tell you real quick. I know you're a Cowboys fan.
Oh boy.
So I know we won 3 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
In our lifetime.
True.
The most entertaining football game I've ever seen in my life was Cowboys and Bills. 2007.
I'm glad you didn't say 2019 whenever you lost on Thanksgiving.
2017. Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm talking about, Phillip?
Yeah.
Tony Romo turned the ball over 6 times and won. 5 picks. 2 of them were pick sixes, a fumble, and they gave up a kickoff return in that touchdown too. So they had 2 pick sixes, 5 interceptions, a fumble, and a kick return touchdown. In that fourth quarter, on the last few drives, they had to score twice, and they had to get the onside kick, Phillip. Then the first pass Romo threw, T.O., after 3 other drops in the game, catches it. The ref gave him the catch, but they had to review it. He missed it. Instead of run 10 seconds off, they had to call a timeout, run another play, get up in position to kick the ball. When they went to kick the ball, this was one of the first ever icings. Folk nails the kick. He gets ice, so we have to re-kick everybody together, and he kicks the second time, nails it again from 53 yards.
Wow.
6 turnovers, an onside kick, a kick return, a reviewed play with about 20 seconds left in the game that comes back, puts you out of field goal range. You get back in field goal range on the next play, a frozen kick, and then a kick again to win it. And I'll never forget, I was in Boone, just up on bed, about to die, going back. No, it wasn't. That was 2007. It was in Charlotte is where we were, I think. I remember I was jumping up on the bed, and Amy was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like,
Well,
you have no idea what just happened. But that was the most entertaining, definition of Tony Romo's career.
Right.
That you could throw 5 picks and fumble one and give up a kick return and you still won.
Something that I would like for us to do, obviously.
And the Peyton Manning game where he got beat, scoring 48 points.
Yeah.
And the first thing they showed on SportsCenter was Romo throwing a pick. His defense gave up 51, but let's show the guy who scored 48 throwing a pick.
Something I would like to do, obviously, before we wind up.
All right.
So free agency is really starting to slow down now,
Right.
Because all of the bigger names have signed.
Except-
Obviously, we don't
except
know
for
what
Gordon,
Melvin
Clowney,
Gordon and Clowney. Those are some of the
Newton, yeah.
some of the three ones.
I saw
Cam should be released.
I saw Gordon's
and
being
Jameis.
working on something right now, but they won't name the team.
Okay,
But it's
well,
not Tampa.
Let me. You brought that free agency up. Who? When Colin was talking on TV the other day, who are the guys that are secretly calling
Leaking,
the Bucks
that are
or
leaking.
like where they're trying to get out and go with Tom?
Oh.
I want to know what that list is.
Oh,
who are
well,
those guys?
I could
Who's
tell
the
you one
guys
of them is
saying, hey,
probably
like
Trent Williams?
Trent Williams is probably one of them. I was honestly about to say Trent Williams is probably one of them. Going to go try and win a ring, get out
Yeah.
from underneath Washington.
There you go.
I'll be fine with it if they want to give us the second round pick we want, which I'm fine with wanting a second round pick because top 5 left tackles are hard to come by. So
Yeah.
he is a hot commodity.
Yeah.
And 2, we don't have a second round pick, so of course we would want one. We don't have a second round pick this year,
Yeah.
so we want one. But to me, what I would like to do, the moves that have been made so far, going through the divisions and saying at least, we don't have to name what they finished 1 through 4, but who the favorite today is to win that division. Just because, like I said, most of the big
right, go ahead
names
and
have
name
made
one
the
off.
moves.
We'll do that. Go ahead.
So let's go ahead and let's start with obviously one that we've been talking about a lot. Obviously, the Panthers are part of it, the NFC South. So if you're looking at the NFC South, winners last year were the Saints.
Saints are the favorite.
So you think the Saints?
I'm picking
are the
them until
favorite.
they win it. Damn it, Hunter! I'm tired of this every year. Phillip, for 3 straight years, I've picked them, and they in the NFL has took a bazooka to their turkey heads and blown it off right in front of everyone. I'm picking the Saints until Breeze is no longer there.
So Kevin's
don't even
taking-
ask me.
So Kevin's thinking the Saints.
I'm tired of it.
Phillip, who you got? We know Carolina's last.
Carolina's out. I think.
The other 3 are right there. To me, 2 of them are ahead of.
You know,
one of
I'm going to
them.
be honest because it's so premature. I would have to see what they draft.
You'd have to see what they draft.
I mean, like,
but
what
see,
hap-
we
what
all,
happens-
everybody does it. This is supposed to be premature.
I'm just saying,
it's
but
supposed
like,
to be
I'm
early.
just saying, like,
Phillip's not playing the game.
He's
I'm
not
just
playing
saying-
the game.
all right, no, but I'm just saying.
Does he think there's no positions in basketball too?
There's
Is
no-
he not playing the game?
So depending on the draft, Saints I would go with, but behind them, depending on what picks Tampa does and what moves their potential, Tampa could easily year 1 win that division with Tom Brady. Do I think he's that good? Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Do I think he knows how to win? Yes. Do I think
Yes.
that quarterback room, that offense room, it all changes? I think that I would hate to be the offensive coordinator at Tampa because you're bringing in a coordinator that plays quarterback. And
He's
what
smarter than he needs to realize he's smarter than you are.
But in the same token, there's going to be a lot of hype there. There's going to be a lot of people that play their best game now against Tampa, where they used to mark Tampa off. Carolina used to go in there and think, "Hey, we're going to win these 2 divisions."
And then Jameis would beat him.
Yeah, and so really and truly, if I was going to be a betting man, I would want to stick. Like, if I'm going to be a solid, I'm going to go with the Saints. If I'm going to have the wild card winner of the division, I'm going Tampa.
Okay.
Just because
To me,
what they could bring in, they could be phenomenal.
To me, it's Tampa. I'm going to take Tampa as of right now, just because I think they brought in a winner.
Yeah.
Essentially, you saw they won 7 games last year with Jameis throwing 30 picks. You're bringing in a guy that can still get you 30 touchdowns, but maybe 6 picks,
Right.
Maybe 7.
And he can sustain drives, which keeps your defense fresh and off
Yes.
the field. I mean, he can manipulate a game.
And and we've seen what has happened when Tom Brady has weapons, a la the 16-0 Patriots when they were
Right.
winning with Randy Moss, and they had obviously great
But in the
receivers as
same
well.
return, I think that New England now,
Oh,
we're going to find out really what Belichick is
I agree.
without Brady.
Unless he just comes out and says, "This season is just botched. We're going to go for Trevor Lawrence."
We're going to make moves
Yeah.
to improve in the future.
So there's the NFC South. We'll stick with the stay in the NFC. We'll just do the NFC first.
Do them all real quick.
The NFC East. NFC East. That's our division. All of it. Well, you started out as a Cowboys
Philadelphia.
fan. So
I'm taking the Cowboys because I'm not going to lose faith.
You're taking the Cowboys.
I'm staying with us.
No Byron Jones.
No Byron Jones, no Jason Witten. But you know what? You know what? I'm going to be that person. It's going to be
that person.
It could be our
Be that
year.
Phillip.
It could be your year.
It could be
It's
your
year every
They
year.
could go
but-
5
Because
and
as
11.
long as Zeke keeps his hands off his girlfriends, as long as Dak focuses in and does what he
Doesn't
needs to
hold
do,
out?
yeah, we're going to be all right.
All right. So you said the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Philadelphia Eagles. As much as I would love to say Washington, I think our defense is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
The offense is the biggest question point. But Philadelphia, If they add
when
a,
you
if
get
they
Cam,
add
when
a
you
wide,
get Cam Newton,
well,
then you might
yeah,
actually
maybe.
start winning.
No, then I'm definitely thinking we're coming in last because we'll all be cross dressers by the end of that. If Philadelphia adds another wide receiver, I think they're going to be really dangerous.
let me ask you, since y'all are so like, it's they want to take the Redskin away because of the name, and if your quarterback drenches like the pancake stir Aunt Jemima, are y'all going to have to like
The
get him
Butterworth.
to- Yeah, you got to
Puts
get him. You got to get him to change up too.
Probably.
Phillip,
Sorry.
I swear
Probably.
they should go. Have you seen the Redskin potato logos?
No,
They could
be
keep the name
potatoes.
Redskins,
and just be
and
potatoes.
all they have to do is put a Redskin potato in the logo with the feather and everything. And they
Right.
can still
Right with
wouldn't
it.
ever
There you
change it.
The name I would want us to adopt if we move away from the Redskins, because we've already wear it, the pig noses, we'd have to be like the Hogs. Something-
Washington Redskins.
Washington
Washington
Hogs.
Hogs. Red
Something
Hogs.
like that.
Why could you could keep the name Redskins and still just do the Razorbacks are red?
True.
You could
to
keep
me,
that.
To me, it's just I think they obviously don't like the name Redskins because of the logo.
Right.
They don't like it.
There you go, Phillip.
Look, just put a
The
potato.
Redskin potatoes.
Just put a little
Awesome.
potato.
All right, next division.
Next division, NFC West is loaded. Dude, that thing is loaded.
Seahawks. They just gave Russell Wilson Greg Olsen
They did.
and added some defenders.
They brought back Bruce Irvin. So you're going Seahawks.
Yes,
I'll just say I'm going with the 49ers. I think they can get back.
I think they missed the playoffs.
The hardest thing, though, is they lost to DeForest Buckner. That's going to be the hardest thing.
Kyle Shanahan has a history of sucking in the Super Bowl and missing the playoffs.
Let's see who all's in that division. That's the Niners.
Cardinals and
Well, then all right,
Niners.
then I'm gonna go Cardinals.
Seahawks.
You're going with the Cardinals.
Kyler Murray year 2.
DeAndre
Staff.
Hopkins.
I mean, my goodness, the freaking receivers that he has around him.
Hopkins and
I
Fitzgerald.
mean, everybody keeps talking Hopkins. I'm thinking like Larry Fitzgerald's pretty freaking good.
to me, he's a slot
tell me
receiver
this,
now.
Tell me this. Out of all those receivers, who you going to man cover? Who you not doubling? You're going to have to put a safety over one of them.
Oh, I know.
So who you shutting down and who you letting beat you? That's what
I think
and then when you shut all those games down in the secondary because you're going to have to go nickel, and you're going to put an extra corner or an extra safety there, then who's going to slow down Kyler when he runs?
I don't know.
Because you're going to have less people
that
in the
division
box.
to me is the one that's most wide open because even then, a name we didn't mention, the Rams, they still have all sorts of talent on that team. So that
and they've got
that's
holes to fill,
wide
and then
open.
who do they fill in those holes is the next.
True, they lost Dante Fowler and they just obviously let Todd walk.
Yeah,
so.
so they've got a defensive spot and they got an offensive spot.
Okay, so there's the NFC West. Again, these are all way early, but this is just
Yeah.
why. This is why this is what we do. It's way
I
early
thought this was going to be
predictions.
quick. NFC North.
NFC North.
One team.
Thank
Just
you,
one
mediator.
Team. All right.
Thank you.
I need to get that team in there because I want to do something with Phillip before you go.
Minnesota.
Sweet.
All right,
Get the answer.
AFC East.
AFC East.
Buffalo.
You both said at the same time. Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it.
NFC
I don't watch
North.
that.
NFC North.
Cleveland.
Baltimore.
I'll go Pittsburgh.
Brownies.
Baltimore.
NFC West.
NFC or AFC?
AFC West. Kansas
AFC
City.
West. Kansas City.
Yeah.
Kansas City.
And the
They don't win the
AFC
Super Bowl again.
AFC South.
The Indianapolis Colts.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah. I was going to
Everybody
go
going Phillip Rivers. All right,
Phillip
Phillip.
Rivers.
I know Hunter's probably got to go.
Yeah, I extended that out, but
I'm naming
really don't want.
Phillip, the best baseball player starting lineup. I've seen this people going through. Let's do while we've been alive. I just
While we've been alive.
I just wrote down my lineup right now on the screen. You could probably see it up there.
Okay.
This is my guess. I'm in the ballpark, I think. I'm not sure about second base or right field and in the right-handed pitcher, but I'll take nominations and ideas for other folks. I know I'm a little bit older than you. I mean, if I'm actually putting together a team to win one game, I'm having Ozzie Smith at shortstop because I'm assuming the rest of my other hitters can knock in some runs. So I'm going to have Ozzie at short.
What about your
but
catcher at the Cardinals?
Yachty's the catcher.
Molina.
Yeah, you could put Yachty
I did put
over
Pudge. They're very close. I do think Yachty might be the all-time. I mean, Pudge is.
And that's obviously Miguel Cabrera at third.
Yeah.
Over you would take Miggy over Cal Ripken.
Well, Ripken was more shortstop most of his career, and he played third late in his career. He's kind of like what A-Rod did. They're pretty much the same.
See, I
same
can't
thing.
I can't go with you with A-Rod. I'm a Derek Jeter guy.
Oh, see, I don't think A-Rod wouldn't. If Jeter wasn't Derek Jeter, he should have been playing third base instead of A-Rod when he moved over.
Derek Jeter just gives you like Mr. Consistency.
Well, that's the thing.
Whereas you're talking about
If you're gonna-
Trout and
if
I
you're
A-Rod.
love the shortstop.
These are my best hitters.
I'm a
these
big
more than anything.
A-Rod
This is probably
fan.
my best hitter at each position. Is what I did here, as opposed to the best overall player. Because like if you're going to argue Jeter over A-Rod at shortstop, A-Rod was better actually defensively at shortstop, but A-Rod's a better hitter all time. But if you're going to do that, like I just said, I could put Ozzie Smith at shortstop and go with whatever lineup you want
Right.
and be happy with it.
So right-hander, I'm either going to go just because it's me. I'm thinking Maddox
Pitcher.
or Schilling, and then closer obviously.
I don't think Maddox
Mariano.
could make it out of Double-A in today's baseball.
Well, I'm just saying like all time though. Just
Right.
if you look at statistically what he did, and then the same thing in closing, like Mariano is definitely your closer. That if you were going to add that position there.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree with center field. I think that he got out of the game. He was better at the Mariners. He was trash with the Reds.
Griffey didn't get into well, for people listening. All right, I'm gonna tell you I got my best hitters at I was born in '82, so this is just what I got right now. Like I said, open for suggestions and argument. I got Pudge at catcher, Pujols at first. I've got Robbie Alomar and Soriano at second base. I'm open for suggestions there. I just may not be remembering people. Miguel Cabrera at third. Chipper was nominated on some of those lists. A-Rod at short. This is my all-time best. This is the best hitter, I think, by the positions, not overall player, I guess, is per se. Because, some people might have someone different than Ichiro in the outfield or right field, but I've got him right now in right field. King Griffey Jr. in center. And Barry Bonds in left. DH, I got McGuire. I've never seen a baseball hit. If you've ever seen one in person, there's nobody that's hit a baseball like he hits one as hard and far.
Right.
I can't even begin to describe the way the ball floated through the air when he hit it. So I got him at DH. Randy Johnson, left-handed pitcher. Right-handed pitcher, like big argument. A lot of people in this area will say Maddox. I was never a big Maddox fan, so I'm not going to be on that end. I would probably lean more maybe towards Pedro Martinez.
I literally
I was going to
sitting
say,
here thinking
you think
Pedro
Pedro?
Martinez.
Like I'm telling you, Pedro and Schill, but I would take
I like
Schill.
Pedro
I would
better
take
than
Schill
Schilling.
over Pedro because Schilling had the World Series with the Diamondbacks. He had the World Series with
What about
the
Clemens?
Red Sox. You could go Clemens. I mean, see that's a loaded deck.
I'm gonna back this up.
You can't just put it to one pitcher.
I'm gonna back
'cause-
this older. I'm older than you, so I'm going right-handed pitcher. Nolan Ryan.
Yeah.
I saw him play, so I saw the Robin Ventura beat down on the field, so I can stick with Ryan. He actually threw, I think, two no hitters while I was alive. So
Yeah.
I could probably go. I would go Nolan Ryan right-handed there. If I'm going all the time, I'm taking Bob Gibson, but I don't care what anybody says about that one. But going Nolan there. Real quick, as we're looking at that, any other outfielders you'd put up there to pose Ichiro? Like I said, I'm more than welcome. You said Manny Ramirez, some folks. Of course, today people say Trout. You'll have Trout fans, but I mean overall, the Ichiro's hitting and his defense is just he's just good. Was he not? Besides not having power, he's about as perfect a baseball player as you could have.
Right. I mean, because like with Randy Johnson, you could say Madison Bumgarner. You could also throw Chris Sale in there. You could.
I love me some Mad Bum.
I mean,
I love Madison Bumgarner. Just watching him take over that whole World Series run for the Giants. Oh,
I mean, like here's another catcher we're not mentioning that's quality is Buster Posey.
Piazza.
I mean, Mike Piazza. I mean, an outfielder that a lot of people don't want to talk about that I enjoyed watching play the game. Andrew Jones wasn't.
I
bad.
literally was about to say Andrew
I mean,
Jones.
Andrew
If
Jones-
you,
I mean,
did, if
if
you
you keep
didn't
it in
say
the-
Andrew, I was saying
If
Andrew
you keep
Jones.
it in the South, I think Andrew Jones is in that talk. Second base. I'm trying to think. There's somebody that I'm missing. I can't think off the top of my head. And it's not. I mean, Ozzie played what? Short. He never played second. Yeah.
He wouldn't dignify.
Well,
the-
see, like two, like, but see, like
thought.
outfield too. You can
Yeah.
go Vladimir Guerrero.
That's a pretty good one.
Vlad, because I'm just thinking old Expos.
That's a pretty good one.
I mean, and if you wanted to go because of the home run race, and you've got two of the three listed, you could say Sammy Sosa.
You could throw him
that
there.
that was Cubbies. And then DH wise, you could get if we want to stay in steroid nation because you got A-Rod up there and McGuire.
You could
I
rotate
love
a
it.
ton of people
I
out of there.
mean, you probably go Canseco because he
You could do him. What about Frank
David
Thomas?
David Justice.
Frank Thomas probably be about as good.
I mean,
as
David
DH
Justice
get.
floated his whole career. I mean, my goodness, he look at his whole career path that he trained.
All right, Phillip, I'm gonna give you a real quick St. Louis
I
Card.
would like to
You gotta
make
go.
an
Oh, go
honorable
ahead.
mention.
Go ahead.
Right fielder. Wanted to put out there Gary Sheffield.
Yeah,
Not
Sheffield.
bad. All right, Phillip, looking at that, just looking at the positions real quick, I'm going to give you a St. Louis Cardinals all-time lineup, but I'm going to tell you, could the Yankees all-time lineup beat them?
Okay.
You're a Red Sox fan, right?
Yes.
All right. Catcher Molina. Now, this is the actual baseball game. This is defense and everything. This ain't just hitting. Catcher Molina. Third base, Albert Pujols. Shortstop, Ozzie. Second base, Rogers Hornsby, who is the all-time batting average leader. Hit 403 times, 426, the best all-time. Third base, that's Scott Rowland. No, I put Pujols at third and McGuire at first because we don't have a DH in the National League. There we go. Left field, who was it? Who's in left? Crap. I didn't went blank on that one. Who did we have in outfield? We had a stud outfield too. Because I had to put the MVP Willie McGee on the bench in the outfield because I had Edmonds, Stan Musial. Oh, Lou Brock. Duh. Lou Brock in left. Maybe Edmonds in center. And Willie McGee was the MVP in 85. And then Stan Musial in right. So I've got Stan Musial, Pujols, McGuire, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, but then all the Yankee people are going to say, well, you got to think Mantle, DiMaggio.
I'm saying we can match up.
I mean,
and
you
people
could.
will look over the Cardinal. When they name the all-time teams, they'll say Yankees will be one of the best. But I think we would match up just as well with them with through that right there.
That's what they need to start doing in video games. Have like all-time great teams.
'Cause look,
line them up and just play
catcher, all-time stolen base, Yachty throwing people out at catcher.
Yeah.
We've got the best shortstop ever out there. Might have the best right-handed hitter in Pujols out there. Then you got bombs from McGuire. Hornsby's got the best all-time batting average.
Yeah.
So
I guess-
all this is in St. Louis.
Can
This
the
is before we
Yankees?
this is
You
before
think
we
the
get to the
Yankees
outfield.
can make claim to Randy Johnson?
Now
He was there for a stint.
maybe the outfield. The Yankees would have us in the outfield, but I think the infield, those five in the
they'd
infield,
also have you probably in rotation
maybe.
because they had arm. Because they buy everybody's arm.
We had Steve Carlton and Bob Gibson. Though.
But I'm saying, but I'm just saying, like the Yankees,
Just look at the money
buy,
they just spent this
They
offseason.
buy everybody's
We-
arm.
we would have
I mean,
Steve-
CC has one good year with the Brew Crew, and then
We'd have Steve Carlton, Bob Gibson, Wainwright, probably Carpenter, but our
They just did it with Garrett Cole.
relievers would be nasty though.
Yeah.
Lee Smith, Dennis Eckersley, Bruce Suter, Jason Isringhausen. We've had closers out the yin yang in St. Louis, so
Right.
that would be okay. The Yankees would probably have us in the outfield if we'd have Lou Brock, but we got Lou Brock, Stan Musial, and maybe Edmonds or Willie McGee in center, as opposed to, hell, we could steal Roger Maris if we want to. He played half his career in St. Louis. If they don't, if the Yankees don't want Maris in the outfield, we can take him.
You take him,
instead.
put him in the starting line.
Because they might not have. Who would be in the Yankees outfield? It'd be Lou Gehrig,
Yeah.
Ruth.
Yeah. Well, unless you put him on the mound or put him at first.
Put him on the mound. That would be tough.
Yeah, I mean, and then you got Bernie Williams.
He played most of his career in right field, though, didn't he, Ruth? He didn't come into first too much. I think he was in most right field.
Gary Sheffield was a Yankee.
Sheffield's out
Mr.
there.
October.
I was about to say Mr. October.
Who's in center field in Yankee Stadium? DiMaggio or Mantle? One of them's got to go to the bench.
Mantle.
Roger Maris wouldn't make the cut. We'd keep
and
him.
then DiMaggio would DH.
So we could keep Roger Maris in. So we had the two single season home run hitters, the best defensive shortstop ever, maybe the best defensive catcher ever,
But
the all-time batting average.
But the
leader.
Yankees have steroid Alex Rodriguez.
We got
you list all the
McGuire.
guys.
El Capitan
Yeah, I got-
and Jeter.
Yeah.
we got McGuire.
And then they got Giambi. We got Giambi over there.
I think
The Yankees.
perfect matchup. I think those two teams, of
It would
course,
be- it'd be
and,
fun to watch.
And once you talk about those two teams do have the most World Series.
Yeah.
for both of them.
And it would be good games. I would like to see a 7-game series of that. Roll it out. That's what we need to do one of these days. Just do like a Twitch feed,
Yeah.
play it out, have the all-decade team, and just see what it all comes out.
All right, there's people betting on Madden simulations right now. I swear to God, Phillip, they are putting the first one they did was Brady and Phillip Rivers on the thing.
Just to give you a plug, I know we're getting off, but this is something that will blow you away. So in Charlotte, the Charlotte Barnstormers or Charlotte Baseball, they're playing a virtual baseball season where they are game casting out these games and taking the stats so far in North Carolina baseball and making key matchups and posting it on social media and going inning by inning so that people can still have sports. They're making fake games
Hey,
against fake
Did you
kids.
see NASCAR iRacing before we go?
Yeah, the internet computer.
They're racing this weekend. They're going to broadcast it on FS1, Hunter. Jeff Gordon, the regular announcers are going to do the.
I don't
do
see
the
why.
announcing.
Awesome.
dude, listen.
They're going to do the announcing.
You can do the exact same thing announce-wise.
So do y'all wanna-
You can do the same exact
Hunter,
thing.
do y'all want to do that?
No, I was just
Let's
wondering-
come in-
I'm wondering why you
Hey.
guys haven't tried to pick this up as content and just run it. Just see, hey, FS1, can we pull this for you guys?
Oh, you talk about that?
Yes.
Now,
It's going to be the
I
same.
tell you
It's just
what we are
virtual.
doing. What we are doing, we are running old games and races.
Okay.
MRN is running old races. Last night we ran Bird versus Larry Magic 1979 championship game on KTC. So we're doing some of that.
Wow, that's cool.
Folks, all right, folks, if we have plenty of high school content on KTC broadcast and watch high school football, basketball, Legion. We had a state Legion tournament last year, Phillip, home run derby,
Yep.
all that. So we've got a lot of content like that. Hunter, see you in the morning, buddy.
Absolutely. See you in the morning. Phil, always good to see you.
Good
All
to
right,
see you,
folks, we're going to wrap it up here in just a few moments. It's Friday. I'm sure Phillip wants to do. Well, there ain't nothing fun you can do. Not allowed to go
That's it.
outside.
I'm going to the secret spot in Cleveland County to get some meat, so I don't have to go fight with Ingles. I'm gonna slip up to a company that's in the north end of Cleveland County to
Oh, okay.
to get some hamburger meat.
I was about to say we had one of the meat markets in Shelby had to close down because they for a week or so because they haven't got any of the shipments and everything that they usually
Yeah.
get in one in. So we've had that issue has popped up around here. So. All right, Phil. Anything else you wanted to get into today?
That's
We kind of
it.
had some fun, or we touched on a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's about all that you can do.
I know, right?
This is the best sports network around because it's local sports. It's I hope everybody keeps following this because right now this is better than TV.
Do you think we should on Sunday watch the race ourselves
And
and do a
commentate live
radio? Do a radio.
as long as you get
an
Terry
audio
Reinhardt,
commentating on it.
if you get Terry to go stand in like a room, put some like crowd noise, and be like, "I'm standing here and turn."
Terry is 100% opposed to all internet sporting
he would have
events.
to, but he would have to be our like
He's
on
100.
the track,
He's opposed. Whatever it
talking
is,
about
he's
track tip
opposed.
and everything else.
He is the stick in the mud if we've ever had a stick in the mud.
I think it would be fun if you've seen WWE. They're still doing wrestling with no fans. It's so much fun to watch these non-fake
Right.
wrestlers hype up the crowd.
You know who Jim Cornette is?
Yes.
Okay. Do you ever have you ever seen his podcast?
No.
Okay. Go to it.
Okay. This
All
is
right.
what it's
So
like.
only thing I have to say is every other word is a cuss word,
Oh gosh.
but it's Jim Cornette. So you know is how he used to do his show when he
Right.
used to do his promos. It's the exact same thing with cussing.
Oh man.
So it's nonstop. He just goes off the whole. Now we can cuss here. We're not on the radio, but the thing about it is that it's fun. He's funny too. So he was talking about this WrestleMania thing as well, and he was talking about you're doing it at the training facility anyway. He said you have 100 wrestlers there that are training to be in different levels. All you have to do is put them. This is his words. Put them and their effing girlfriends and wives in the audience, and then you don't have to do anything. You don't have to bring in people. But I was thinking, what if they went and got a bunch of these older wrestlers to come in and be part of the crowd?
That'd be
Like
cool.
you look out there and there's Sting standing in the crowd, or the Undertaker, or I know Undertaker's still trying
But
to
see,
do
what
stuff.
killed
but-
me
but
was they brought Goldberg back. I mean, Goldberg done wanted a dang belt, and he was
I know,
back. I
right?
was like, holy cow. And
That was
then it fades out.
15 years.
Here we go.
I thought I'd get on Goldberg and look. I didn't think he was that good to begin with, and now we're bringing him back. All he
Bring
did
him
was
back.
tackle people.
I'd like to see
That's
him.
the move.
Like him and Brock Lesnar would be fun to watch. Same guy, just old footballs.
All right, Philip, let's get out of here.
All right, man.
Thanks everybody for watching and listening to the podcast. Shock Joxx episode 34. Apples,
Plug
Apple
in David
iTunes,
Ortiz, baby.
everywhere else. He's not on my list of
Poppy.
good players.
Well, when you said episode 34, there's only 134.
He's not on my list of good players. I think the only reason Edgar Martinez got in the Hall of Fame was so Poppy could get in
There you
easily.
go.
We'll see you guys next time Monday for Shock Joxx. Saturday morning sports talk is tomorrow on KDCBroadcasting.com.
Chosen breed.